As a senator, he was at a fundraiser in Philadelphia, and he said if they bring a knife to the fight, we bring a gun. And as I said, I'm very sorry to hear that. I got a lot of coverage at the time, but I had not really remembered that, so sorry to hear that. Anyway, that's it for First Light this morning. Thanks to producer David Oziel and Joe Ardner with the audio. I'm Michael Toscano. We'll see you tomorrow.
American Family Insurance offers you the protection you need to pursue your dreams, even if you take a couple of wrong turns. At American Family, we know your car is more than four wheels that get you from point A to point B. It's freedom to pursue the things important to you, which is why you want to make sure you have the proper protection. To learn more, get a quote. Contact local American Family agent Brad Woody at 265-6200.
American Family Insurance.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin, 53783.
Croft Lumber of Heston. Project expertise from start to finish. At Croft Lumber, you'll experience big box store selection with Heston owned and operated, pride in serving you, the customer. Quality Anderson and Marvin windows, Anderson and Larson storm doors, the full line of custom kitchen cabinetry from R.D. Henry & Company. And Croft Lumber has the full Milwaukee tool line. Croft Lumber, where service is their specialty and delivery within a 50-mile radius is absolutely free. Croft Lumber of Heston.
This is a Steckline communication station, K273CX, FM 102.5 and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Phil's Coins, Kansas's largest coin dealer at 9344 West Central. Phil's Coins, buying, selling, and trading with honesty and integrity.
I'm Stephanie Austin. Wichita police are asking for the public's help in finding 17-year-old Sheila Dutton. Dutton is developmentally disabled and was last seen last night around 7:30 leaving a church near 10th and Tyler in West Wichita. Police say she was seen wearing a maroon shirt, blue jeans, and white tennis shoes. If you see her, you are urged to contact police. Police say a suspect crashed into a police car during a pursuit in Derby yesterday. Officers were called around 1 p.m. to the report of someone breaking into cars at the Derby Walmart. As they arrived, the male suspect fled in a truck. Police found the suspect a short time later in a neighborhood, and during the chase, the suspect crashed into a patrol car at a high rate of speed. Police say the suspect then carjacked a woman backing out of her driveway. Officers surrounded the suspect, and he crashed that stolen vehicle into an unmarked police vehicle before being taken into custody. It's time now to check in at the sports desk.
My staff and I have not and do not offer improper inducements to them or their families.
Coach Bill Self of the University of Kansas held a press conference last night. Those are just a few words that he said in regards to the text messages and the information that came out in last week's court hearings in federal court. Self went on to say, as the leader of the Kansas men's basketball program, I take pride in my role to operate with integrity and within the NCAA rules. Silvio DeSoso, one of the members mentioned in the court case last week, will not play in KU's opener pending a possible NCAA investigation. From the sports desk, I'm Doug Downs.
MJ's Truck Repair at Exit 46 off I-135 in Mound Ridge, America is the largest full-service truck center between Wichita and Salina in central Kansas. Truckers in the know already know, and ag people from miles around know they can turn to MJ's Truck Repair for repair and parts for their tractors, combines, and hay equipment. You construction types, listen up. Skid steers, backhoes, forklifts, bulldozers, and payloaders. MJ's of Mound Ridge is also your construction equipment parts and repair headquarters. Find MJ's on the web at mjstruckrepair.com.
Crop producers, you know you can produce a higher crop yield while reducing the impact on valuable natural resources, including water supplies and soil, with the proper nutrition and management. Tyree Ag partners with AgroLiquid Fertilizers and Pioneer Seed with the goal of prospering the farmer while safeguarding the environment. Tyree Ag offers quality aerial and ground applications, precision ag services, and a broad selection of crop protection and biostimulant products serving South Central Kansas and Northwest Oklahoma. Visit Tyree Ag today at tyreeag.com.
Autotech Service and Audio is a new and exciting service center that has joined the Autocraft family. We provide service like no other service centers in Wichita. We are home of the $24 oil change and provide you with not only the lowest prices in town, but also certified mechanics that care about the service and safety of your vehicle. We also have a state-of-the-art audio selection to fit everyone's needs. Stop by and see us today at 4411 West Central Avenue or call Doug at 942-0707. Come check us out today.
Hi, I'm Shannon Stiles, owner of Legacy Advisors, an all-state insurance company that will protect you and your family and provide you coverage that will fit your insurance needs. So when you go to bed at night, you can rest assured that we have your back. If something unfortunate should ever happen to you or your family, we are a local insurance company right here in Wichita, and we ask that you call us today at 316-773-9864, and we will provide you with a free quote. Come join the Legacy Advisors insurance family today at 316-773-9864. You'll be glad you did.
Plan ahead for a comfortable and safe winter by contacting Propane Central today. They'll conduct a free comprehensive check of your gas system and fill your tank and set you up with the payment and delivery options that meet your needs. Experience worry-free propane only from Propane Central. Give them a call at 316-744-6722. Again, that's 316-744-6722, or visit their website at propanecentral.com. Propane Central, the best value in propane.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
A bomb squad is investigating another suspicious package in Lower Manhattan the morning after bomb devices were sent to a number of prominent Democratic political figures and CNN. In the Tribeca neighborhood, it's being treated as a situation like those yesterday. Correspondent Shimon Prokopesh is in touch with the NYPD.
There are similarities, I'm being told, to what we've been dealing with. I've now talked to 2 law enforcement officials who say there are similarities, which is why we're seeing the response that we're seeing from the NYPD.
And we'll stay on that as their work progresses. Wall Street has a lot of lost ground to try to make up today, as we hear from Christine Romans.
The stock market plunged yesterday, wiping out all of its gains for 2018. After the markets closed, the S&P 500, the Dow, both negative for the year. The Nasdaq is in what we call a correction, meaning is 10% below the all-time high hit in August.
Stock futures are currently showing strong gains ahead of the opening bell. Well, the Red Sox win again, taking Game 2 of the World Series last night, beating the Dodgers 4-2. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Hatman Jacks. Amazing headwear for women and men. At the Clock Tower in Delano, Hatman Jacks.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, mostly cloudy, a high near 64, 20% chance of showers after 4, rain expected tonight, low around 48, rain likely tomorrow before lunch, a chance of showers in the afternoon, cloudy with a high near 56. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios, this is the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM KQAM. It's time for Reason.
They want the endorsements because they don't want to look as radical as what they actually are. And the Republicans that are endorsing them, they are showing not as a member of the Republican Party, but as an individual who is so desperate to fit in with the fads, with the trends. It's the retro thing to do, man. And I'm the Republican that supports the Democrat who hates the Republican agenda. This is the latest campaign because they can't win any other way.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. It is the pre-Friday celebration, the greatest day of the entire week. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas. On the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 the FM side, KQAM simulcasting as well on TV. KGPT TV, channel 2610. Good morning. Welcome aboard. It's an honor to have you along today on the pre-Friday celebration. We are officially a week and a half away from Election Day, which makes it very exciting, which makes us ready to rock and roll. We're feeling the energy. We're pumped up. We're ready to go. Welcome in 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. We are as well on YouTube Live today. A lot of people jumping on already this morning. We appreciate that very, very much. Welcome in as you can go on. And I feel really bad. Yesterday, I said that we were going to give away something for someone leaving a comment on the YouTube Live feed. We didn't do that. So today, we're going to give 2 things away If you go to Facebook or if you go to youtube.com, find KQAM Radio, you subscribe to the YouTube page, or you go to facebook.com and you find the link to it on the KQAM page, the Voice of Reason page. You can find the link, click it. It'll send you directly to YouTube, and you can watch it, leave a comment, say hi, and we'll do 2 giveaways today on the YouTube live feed if you leave a comment. So go on there, do that. We appreciate it as we are growing. We've actually been growing in numbers quite a bit there lately, and it's been growing pretty dramatically day over day. Now, here's the crazy thing is that we started getting blocked for replays on YouTube. It wasn't a censoring thing because of content as of yet, but it was because of copyrighted material from the music. Because we play the music, and then they say, no, you're not allowed to do that, and then I have to dispute it and say that we are allowed to do that, and they say that the dispute will be over by November 23rd. So I am working on that, but bear with me on there. Anyways, we got a lot to get to today. 316-721-8255. Phil Martinez of Phil's Coins. He'll be joining us at 8 o'clock today. It is going to be, other than that, it's open lines to you. We have a lot to get to today from the election, the midterms that's happening here in Kansas, nationwide, the new movement from the Democrats, and now we have to deal with the pipe bomb terrorist. And I do want to comment a little bit on this. As first off, I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories floating around. I'm not going to jump into the conspiracy theories until there's a little bit more validity to them. But it's, first off, it is a sad, terrible thing. And just as President Trump said, just as Vice President Mike Pence said, just as Melania Trump said, just as Ron Estes said, that this is unacceptable, this is completely ridiculous, and they will be persecuted to the fullest extent of the law because this is not tolerated. We have political enemies. But that's exactly what they are. They are political enemies. They are not physical enemies. We do not assault them. Joe Biden talked about taking Donald Trump behind the building and roughing him up. Donald Trump called him out on that. It's gotten vicious out there. It's gotten dirty. It's gotten sickening. And what's really upsetting, what's really sickening, now the latest, as you know, there's about 8 bombs right now, or 8 pipe bombs that they've been able to find, is that it went to President Obama's house, President Clinton's house. It went to apparently now they have one from Robert De Niro, potentially. There was the total of like 8 of these things all over the place. And they're potentially, I think, finding even more this morning that are popping up, or late last night. More of them going around. They're all going to predominant Democrats. It started off with George Soros just a couple of days ago. All big Democrats, all predominant Democrats. And you can look at it in a few different ways. It could be an individual who's a pro-Trumper who is nuts, who has taken things to another level of extremism that is unacceptable in any way, shape, or form, and is trying to go after Democrats because they're sick and tired of hearing how sleazy and how dirty the Democrats are. You could say that it's the Democrats that's trying to create a political ploy because they know they're scared going into the midterm elections. They're not anticipating they don't think they're going to win the way that they thought they were going to before with the whole blue wave. So they're creating, in the mindset of the media and in the mindset of you, that it is a Republican when in fact it's all just smoke and mirrors. I can see that as just as much of a validity as I could just a radical nut who wants to harm individuals who's finally had enough. What's absolutely sickening to me, though, what's absolutely troubling, was that the media and the progressives love to jump right on board and blame who? President Donald Trump. The very first thing right off the bat, it's Trump's fault. He has such negative messages. He goes after the media. He goes after his political opponents. He goes after, we need to have civility again, and he needs to stop with the hateful rhetoric because that's encouraging this type of behavior. And I say that's absolutely full of crap. Absolutely full of crap. Donald Trump takes shots at him because he does not sit back and allow people to bully him. And for the side that's always critical of the Republicans for jumping on board and for assuming something or trying to read between the lines, or that we're the conspiracy theorists and we have Alex Jones trying to say that it's an inside job, or that we have Republicans saying that it's the Democrats trying to stage something because we've actually been able to see them do this many times before, and because we come to assumptions, some people do very early, that all of a sudden now they're saying that Donald Trump, first off, it's his fault. He created the hateful rhetoric. He got somebody riled up, and he sent pipe bombs to all these Democrat leaders. And I'd like to remind them that this is the party that has said that they need to get in the faces of individuals of the Republican side in public places and shun them and run them out of restaurants. This is the side that embraces Black Lives Matter, that got very violent against any type of cop or any type of white individual in the country for a very long time. This is the side that has embraced Antifa, who says that by default, if you're a Republican or a white individual or a male or a President Trump supporter, then by default you're a fascist, and we are justified in attacking you and violently harassing you and going after you. They are the party of violence and hatred. And I'm not saying this is them. I'm saying shut up with your accusations about President Trump and thinking that he's the one creating the hateful rhetoric that would lead to something like this. We don't know the details. And I don't care who it is, whether it is a Trump supporter, whether it is a Democrat insider, whether it is just a fiasco nutso that just hates everybody. I don't care who it is. This is wrong. This is bad. This is stupid. And coming up just weeks before an election time, it's really coincidental that it happens that way. Whether it is someone from the insider trying to change the political scene for the moment, or whether it's an individual knowing the elections are coming up and not liking what they're seeing, I don't know. Again, we don't have the information. But stop with the accusations about President Trump. Stop trying to blame President Trump for the hateful rhetoric. Because whatever he said, the progressives and the Democrats have said things 10 times worse. So I don't want to hear it. I really don't want to hear it. Whoever it is, I hope they're found, and I hope that we punish them to the fullest extent of the law and make an example out of them to never do this again. We have enemies, but they are political enemies. We beat them in the political realm. We have the war going on in the political realm. We do have a civil war going on right now. It is called politics. We have to be smart enough to outsmart them. We have to call them out on their crap when they try and sink us to new levels, as the Democrats have been doing over and over and over again. You cannot, and look, the Democrats are very good at this, by the way, of making false accusations without any type of basis in any way, shape, or form. Look at what they did to Kavanaugh. Zero evidence, zero claims, zero facts. But now all of a sudden he's the poster child for rape victims in the country. Now all of a sudden he's the poster child for drunks and people who make bad decisions in the country, well, because they don't like him. They're easy to judge. And now they're easy to, oh, look at this. It all went to Democrats. Obviously, he must be a Republican. Obviously, he must be a Donald Trump supporter. It's more complicated than that. It always is. It's always more complicated than that. It's more complicated when we have an election coming up. Now, again, I don't know whether this is true or not, whether this is a conspiracy theory or not, but there's pictures of these pipe bombs coming out with the mailer that it's in, and the mailer doesn't have the stamp as if it actually went through the post office. I don't know if that's true or not. I've also heard that the return address is from Debbie Wasserman Schultz on the package. Let me tell you something. That's not true. A pipe bomber, a terrorist who's opening up a bomb to blow somebody up is not going to put a return address on a package with a bomb on it. That doesn't make any sense. And if there isn't a stamp that it went through the post office, then that double doesn't make any sense. Again, I don't know if that's true or not, but let's stop jumping to conclusions. Let's start actually waiting for the facts to come out. Let's not forget about this and have our short attention span to where we just move on to something a little bit later, and we go after this individual with the fullest extent of the law, or group of individuals, regardless of who they are. If it is a quote-unquote Trump supporter and they're wearing the Make America Great Again hat and they're trying to do the whole Trump thing because he got them riled up and he upset them and he's sick and tired of the Democrat sort of thing, then it's time to say, you know what? That's not what we call for. Donald Trump has fun taking shots at the media because they lie half the time. He likes taking shots at Democrats because they're vile against him, and they have been since day one, but he has never advocated for the physical violence or the killing of these individuals. And Donald Trump said it beautifully yesterday when he said that we need to unite as a nation. Mrs. Trump, Melania Trump, came out and said it beautifully when she said that this is absolutely absurd and we need to unite as a nation. Maybe he would back off the Democrats from attacking Democrats if the Democrats would actually be civil with him and stop calling him a fascist and stop calling him a terrorist and stop calling him a Nazi and stop calling him a white supremacist. If the media and the progressives and the liberals would stop their hateful rhetoric that has created this shenanigans, then maybe he'd back off on them. If you remember, Donald Trump only attacks those who attack him because he's not going to be bullied. Yeah, I agree. Let's stop the hateful rhetoric. I agree. Let's unite as a nation again. Let's actually find some common ground again and move forward. Let's do that. But until the Democrats actually stop saying that Donald Trump is a Nazi or a fascist or a dictator, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Phones are lighting up. 316-721-8255. Line number 1. What's your thoughts on this? Good morning.
Oh, my thoughts on it's, first of all, if you really take a good look at the packages look very sophisticated, okay? And look at the address. This individual knew the address of all of the people he was sending the packages to. I mean, it wasn't just the general address. So whoever's behind it really knew what they were doing. And Andy, it's just ridiculous.
It is.
God,
it is
how
ridiculous.
How far have we sunk into the sewer?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is just.
Every time that we think we can't get any lower, then we find a way to do so. I mean, I thought that accusing somebody of rape and sexual harassment and gang raping individuals in high school and then going through their yearbook to see if they're qualified to be a U.S. Supreme Court justice, that we could never get any lower than that because that was the stupidest, most childish, most absurd thing that I've ever seen in my entire life from a group that is just hating him because of the fact that he's relatively conservative and they want to stop him. Then we see something like this to where, I mean, you're right, there's an address on the no. I don't know if you can do, I don't know if they still have like those celebrity address books to write fan mails and that sort of thing, and if you can get the addresses of these individuals, but like Barack Obama's house is relatively new within the last year or so. Somebody knew the address to that. I'm sure that if you look deep enough, you can find them. And if you're going to make a bomb, I guess you'd look deep enough to be able to find that information anyways. But again, I mean, I don't want to judge on that because I don't know whether these pictures are accurate or not. I don't know whether the fact that it wasn't stamped through the post office is actually legit or not, meaning that it never actually was processed through the mail and it was actually hand-delivered there as if it was like a mail. It was delivered through the mail in their mailbox sort of thing. I don't know. I don't know if I want to jump on that wagon and say, yeah, that's actually legit. We need to use that as fact yet. I'm waiting to get more details from the FBI. Now, and there's the other concern. The FBI has been known lately, as you know, to be relatively partisan. Is that going to have any effect on the results of this or not, too?
You know, Andy, at one time I serviced, I was a route salesman one time, okay? And here in Wichita, I know for an absolute fact that there were two companies that I serviced that before the mail even got to the main building, it was in another building, and it actually went through one of those fluoroscope type deals. In other words, they checked for bomb material before it even got to the main building.
Sure.
And I know of two, just think, here in Wichita, two companies that did that. And I actually talked to the people that worked out there, and they say, wow, we got a beautiful job, you know. They're not going to blow up inside, but we sure in the hell are. But here in Wichita, even in Wichita, and this was many years ago, they were doing that. And Andy, this country is totally off the rails. I mean, totally off the rails. Good God. And I hate to say that out loud, but it is.
You know, I guess I'm always the eternal optimist. I always try and look at the silver lining here. Here's the silver lining that potentially could happen if we play our cards right, is that we've hit the level of frustration. We've released that frustration. The left has been very angry and has lashed out. The right has been frustrated, and we've been bottling it up and waiting for something to happen. Something like this may happen. Maybe it's gotten to the point to where everybody says, hold on, wait a second. It's time to regroup here a little bit, maybe find a little bit of unity, and we can actually have some rational thought again. Maybe, just maybe, this is the level to where nobody got hurt, thank God. Look, as much as I despise the politics from Hillary Clinton and from Barack Obama, I don't wish ill will on them. I have never wished ill will on anybody like that. I enjoy the debate. I enjoy the confrontation. They're wrong. They're dangerous to America with their political ideologies, but I never wish ill will on anybody like that in any way, shape, or form. That's not the same as what you've heard from the left side of the aisle, though. If you remember, like Tony Snow being the media consultant for President Bush, and when he died from brain cancer, oh, thank God that conservative jerk's dead. You remember those comments? I've never wished ill will on anybody. I despise what they believe politically. I wish that they'd never been empowered to do stupid things like that, but I would never wish them to be harmed in any way, shape, or form. That's the big difference here, but maybe we can find a little bit of unity. Maybe, thank God nobody got hurt. Maybe this is the sign of, hey, we came really, really close to seeing really something really bad happen that would have changed the dynamic of society today. With this, we stopped it. It's time to regroup here a little bit. Maybe that'll happen. I don't know. We got some other calls on the line. Don't go anywhere. Appreciate the call very, very much. 316-721-8255. Let's take a break on a pre-Friday celebration. This is The Voice of Reason.
With Andy Hoosier.
Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network. The African swine fever virus is infecting hog herds from China and Europe. In early October, a traveler from China was stopped from entering Japan with sausage infected by the virus. America has similar checks in place to keep the virus out of our country. Dr. Howard Hill, VP of the Board of Directors at the Swine Health Information Center, says there is no cure or vaccine available for African swine fever.
Let me first say that this is a virus that does not affect humans, so there's no food safety issue, but it's a virus that causes very high morbidity and mortality in pigs. And there is no vaccine. There are companies both here in the United States and overseas that are trying to develop a vaccine, but it's apparently a very difficult virus to develop a vaccine for. Otherwise, we'd have one by now.
At one point, the disease had been eradicated, but it began to reappear in the early 2000s. Officials say approximately 40 outbreaks have occurred in China alone. A traveler was recently caught trying to bring an entire hog's head wrapped in tinfoil through customs into the United States. Hill says bringing any kind of meat into the country is illegal.
It was on NBC or CBS here about a week ago in the morning. They had this picture of this cooked head, which is common in China, for example. You'll see where they cook the whole head and then they take the skin and the meat off and make different dishes out of it. And somebody had tried to bring in a whole hog head that was wrapped in tinfoil, and they had it on the morning news, and they were sort of laughing about it. You know, they said, well, why would anybody do this? You know, but I don't think they knew the significance of that event.
Hill says it's never been more important for producers to maximize all their available biosecurity measures. An outbreak would be disastrous, he says, for United States agriculture. And remember, there is no vaccine available. Ag News from Mid-America Ag Network.
Midterm election 2018 is upon us, and your home for the latest news is right here on the Big Talker KQAM. Join myself, Andy Hoosier, during the Voice of Reason from now until Election Day as we talk to candidates, cover the latest news, and break down each of the races. Plus, join the Big Talker KQAM on Election Night as we give you the latest numbers as they come in. From county commission to congressional seats, your source for election 2018 is the Big Talker KQAM.
Brought to you in part by Heartland Avionics and JD Aviation, Davis Liquor Outlet, and Augusta Flight Center.
At Starseed, we have various options for your cover crop solution. Whether you prefer green shift, chick magnet, or green field, choose Starseed for all your cover crop needs. We offer premium quality products and superior sudden service. Don't forget to ask about our custom blend packages. Call Starseed today at 800-782-7311 or visit our website at gostarseed.com for all your seed needs.
And one thing you don't want associated with your harvest this year is downtime. Did you know MJ's Truck Repair at exit 46 off I-135 can take care of all harvest-related equipment, combines, tractors, grain carts, and all machinery associated with your successful harvest this year. MJ's Truck Repair of Moundridge also has on-the-farm emergency service. Roll your harvest worry-free with MJ's Truck Repair of Moundridge, Kansas, 800-835-0069.
Radical liberal James Thompson is unfit to represent Kansas. James Thompson is an unrepentant liberal who supports allowing late-term abortions and even funding abortions with your tax dollars, and an unrepentant socialist who wants to force Kansans into total government-controlled health care and double your income taxes to pay for it. It's no wonder James Thompson has an F rating from the NRA, because he supports requiring Kansans to register their guns with the federal government. James Thompson, unfit to represent Kansas. There is a better choice. Ron Estes, a champion for Kansas values. Ron Estes has been endorsed by Kansans for Life and the Kansas Farm Bureau for always protecting our way of life. And Ron Estes has been A-rated and endorsed by the NRA for defending our heritage and right to self-defense. Ron Estes, a champion for the Second Amendment, farmers, families, and innocent life.
I'm Ron Estes, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Estes for Congress.
28 minutes past the hour. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason. Great to have you along today for a Thursday, the pre-Friday celebration. Waking you up the best way we can. We got about a minute before the bottom of the hour, but let's sneak in a phone call here, shall we? Line number 2. Good morning. What's your name?
This is Pete.
Hey, good morning, Pete. How are you, sir?
Doing well. I'll make this brief. You look at the pattern of behavior of the Democrats. They tried to slander Trump. It didn't stick. They tried to slander Kavanaugh. It didn't stick. They've tried this supposed migrant caravan, which is really an invasion. That's backfiring on them.
Sure.
I think this is a Democrat ploy to turn them into a bunch of martyrs to garner a sympathy vote.
Well, and even if it didn't work, even if they didn't turn into martyrs, they turned into martyrs by default just by saying, oh, look, the Republicans are so angry. We need Democrats in here because the Republicans are the alt-right fascists. They're the Nazis. They're the ones that are trying to say that if you don't agree with us, we're going to harm you, which has been their mantra for the last how many years now. But now they're trying to pawn, because they're very good at being able to pawn off to the other side. I mean, I get it. And Pete, I appreciate that. We got to take a break here. But you're right. I don't want to make the accusations, but we're open to anything, and we're looking at this realistically and saying who could have done this historically lately, who's been very angry, and is there any type of motive from some way, shape, or form from anybody? And it could go either way. It makes sense. You can't roll it out just because we want to put on the tinfoil hat. We'll take some more phone calls when we come back. Bottom of the hour news. This is The Voice of Reason on a Thursday.
The latest news from the Big Talker, KQAM.
Police in New York are telling the Associated Press the suspicious package taken this past hour from the Tribeca neighborhood building associated with actor Robert De Niro in Lower Manhattan appears linked to 7 other bomb devices sent to Democrats and CNN. This one may have gotten closer to an intended victim, as we hear from correspondent Shimon Prokupecz.
Frightening is that this package was already on the 7th floor of the building. I don't know what's on the 7th floor, but we know that this was addressed to Robert De Niro.
The device has been taken away in a special containment truck. Meanwhile, President Trump is tweeting this morning that the current anger is, quote, caused by the purposely false and inaccurate reporting of news media. Trump also tweeting about the migrant caravan working its way north to the U.S. border through Mexico, writing, quote, I am bringing out the military for this national emergency. This will be stopped. Well, stock futures are currently showing strong gains ahead of the opening bell on Wall Street this morning, following yesterday's big losses. I'm Michael Toscano.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458. 800-481-1458 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. We've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. Our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days. Then, if rates go up, your rate stays locked. But if rates go down, your rate drops. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Mid-America Network News. A Texas woman serving time in a Kansas prison has been released early because a former prosecutor listened to recorded phone calls between her and her attorney. The Kansas City Star reports that 37-year-old Michelle Roulette was one of potentially dozens of defendants who could be affected by a pending federal court case over recorded calls at a federal prison in Leavenworth, Kansas. Roulette was released from prison on Monday. She was serving a 5-year sentence for mail fraud and was not due for release until September of 2020. Senator Pat Roberts has endorsed Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach for governor, saying, "I'm glad to endorse Chris Kobach for governor. With Chris's experience and leadership, our Kansas values and way of life will be preserved and protected. Chris will ensure our economy remains competitive and dynamic with good jobs for hardworking Kansans." I'm Stephanie Austin.
Solid values, broad experience, and judicial temperament, critical for judges, and why you should vote for Republican Roger Woods for judge in Sedgwick County Division 7. Roger Woods has a record of protecting the constitutional rights of citizens, both inside and outside the courtroom. Roger Woods has lived in Sedgwick County for nearly 2 decades and is committed to keeping it a safe place to live and raise families. In fact, Roger has received the endorsement of the Friends of the Fraternal Order of Police. Roger Woods is a lifelong Kansan, an Army veteran with 27 years in active and National Guard service, including 4 deployments to the Middle East. His range of experience, both inside and outside of the courtroom, gives him a wide perspective to serve and make a positive difference in our community. Treating people with fairness and respect is a way of life for Roger. He won't forget that every case is the most important case to the people involved. On November 6th, vote for Republican Roger Woods for judge.
This is Roger Woods. Please visit woodsforjudge.org, and I would appreciate your vote on November 6th. Paid for by Woods for Judge, T-Check Compton, Treasurer.
Hi, this is Phil Martinez at Phil's Coins. At the shop, we talk all the time about honesty and integrity. And in our shop, we've decided that honesty means nothing without integrity. So what I would tell you is that if you didn't bring your coins to Phil's Coins, honestly, you didn't get enough money for what you have. Come see us at Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central, or online at philscoins.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Cloudy and 54, rain likely mainly before 5. Tonight, 40% chance of rain before 8. Cloudy but clearing a bit, low 45. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high near 70. Winds gusting over 20 miles an hour. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
Andy never shies away from a fight.
Just you try it.
Oh, I'll try it.
Just you try it.
You'll feel it when I try it.
Oh, I'd like to see you have at it.
Would you now?
And now's your chance to jump in the ring.
Are you insane?
Give Andy a call at 316-721-8255. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
There it is. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. Great to have you along today on a brand new morning, kicking it off, waking you up the right way. You can interpret that however you'd like to do so. Better than a cup of coffee, a shot of espresso, even an energy drink. Yeah, that's right here on the Voice of Reason. Welcome in 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. You know the crazy thing is we're talking about these packages coming in the mail and the pipe bombs, so you got to be careful a little bit. And if you're involved in politics at all, you kind of have to watch your back today in today's times, which is really weird. It's really crazy. It's hard to believe. It's kind of scary in that fact, in the sense that if you're in politics, even if you put a yard sign out in your yard, you're on the radio chatting, you are running for office yourself, you have to watch your back, because there are stupid people in the world today that think that just justifies them to be able to come after you. You see the assault, the vicious, the angry, yelling, attacking, whatever in Washington, D.C., day in and day out, running Ted Cruz out of restaurants, running Mitch McConnell out of restaurants, running how many? I mean, how many others have we heard of them getting assaulted or at least yelled and screamed and berated at a restaurant from the progressives on the left side of the aisle? It's a scary thing. So as we're seeing the news yesterday about these pipe bombs coming into different places, one after another, after another, after another, and we're just like, wow. Good golly, what the heck's going on? Then the office ladies here at Stickline Communications, they walk in yesterday with a big box in the studio, and they're like, oh, this is written out to you, Andy. And they're like, they're carrying it very carefully, and she's like, it's really heavy, and I don't know what's in it, but I'm a little scared. Like, oh, gee, thanks, okay. So I look at it, And then the owner, Greg Stecklein, he comes in and is like, Andy, I hope it's not ticking. Why don't you open that outside? Because you don't know anymore. It's a scary thing with a big, heavy box coming in here, written out to the political guy on the. I mean, we have our sports station, we have our ag network and our news and everything, and that's all great and hunky-dory. But if anybody's going to be having a bone to pick with somebody on air at Stecklein Communications, it's going to be the political guy. So I'm like, okay, well, but I opened it, and it wasn't anything bad. Don't get me wrong. It's nothing crazy. But I was really excited about it, but it's just something nerve-wracking now. You'd think twice, should I really open this? But I'm glad I did, because this was from the Kansas Policy Institute, and as we had talked with Dave Traubert from the KPI just a few days ago, they sent an entire large box full of their book that they wrote earlier this year, What Was Really the Matter with the Kansas Tax Plan, The Undoing of a Good Idea, by Dave Traubert with Denidre Herbert. As you know, Denidre Herbert also working with the Chris Kobach campaign as well, but Dave Traubert with KPI, and I got a large box full of these books, What Was Really the Matter with the Kansas Tax Plan, The Undoing of a Good Idea. So what we're going to do is, if you end up commenting today on the YouTube live feed, all you got to do is go to youtube.com, find the KQAM page. You can subscribe to it. We got about a decent amount of people that are starting to subscribe to the page. That'll give you a notification every time that we're actually on. It'll let you know when we're actually live when you go onto your YouTube. Or you can go to facebook.com and find the KQAM page or the Voice of Reason page. You can see the link that we share each and every morning. Click on that, and it'll send you to the YouTube page. Leave a comment. Just say good morning. We're going to do 2 of these today. We're going to give you a copy of What Was Really the Matter with the Kansas Tax Plan, The Undoing of a Good Idea, along with they sent a brand new package full of a bunch of the 2018 voter issue guides. So I'm going to attach one of the voter issue guides with that as well. So go on there, leave a comment throughout the show today. We'll do one giveaway at 7 o'clock and one giveaway at the end of the 8 o'clock hour today right here on the show. And we appreciate you hanging out with us no matter whether it's radio, TV, or the YouTube feed. Let's go back to the phones here, 316-721-8255. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Hey, good morning. It's Deacon.
Deacon, what's going on, sir? How you doing?
Man, you know me, I'm just living the dream out here, having a fantastic day.
Every day, even in the rain, and it's still raining from last night.
Yeah, you know, rain ain't bad, it just washes away the dirt.
That's true. That is true. I do indeed. And I got to say, last night I went to the Cirque du Soleil show. Got to go and enjoy that. I didn't realize it was an ice show with the ice skaters, and those people are crazy. They're crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen one of those ice shows like that?
Not in person. I've seen videos of it, but I haven't seen it live.
Holy cow! I tell you, okay, this guy. Let me tell you, guy or girl. I don't know what. It was too far away. I couldn't tell, and maybe they have a gender identification issue. I'm not really sure. But they were doing the whole skating thing, and it was fun and all dandy. Then they put this table out on the ice, which putting a table out on the ice probably isn't the most secure thing in the world. Then they start stacking chairs on top of another over another over. This dude climbs up 10 chairs high and then balances on one hand floating up in the air on this thing on the ice with 10 chairs under him balanced on this table that's floating around on the ice. The guy's crazy.
That's right there. I don't know if that's courage or insanity, man, but that's something you wouldn't catch Deacon doing.
Oh man, I mean, hey, it just reminded me how out of shape I really am.
Oh yeah. And the balance issue, man, there's no way.
Yeah, there you go. Anyways, what's on your mind this morning?
So anyway, yeah, I just, I don't believe that the bombs were sent by a conservative, but if there is a misguided conservative out there who did it, we're not going to be, the Me Too people and the rest of those liberal Democrats who are going, oh, it's okay. No, we will call him out for what he is, and not stand behind him.
That is a big difference.
What we do.
You're right. That is a big difference between the conservative and the liberal side. That is when a conservative does do something wrong, we have no problem saying that was dumb. You don't do that. And we do a very good job, at least we try to do a good job, of coming out and saying this is not what we stand for and not what we represent and not what the conservative message actually is. When a progressive does something, they have a very hard time separating themselves from that because they are in that groupthink mentality, the collective mentality, to where they're all one. None of them are an individual, but they're all part of the group. And if part of the group does something bad, they don't necessarily come out and say that was really dumb. It goes back to the shooter that ended up shooting up the baseball field to all the Republicans who said he was a diehard Bernie Sanders supporter. Yeah, they came out and they were like, it's not very good. But they didn't really come out and say this is not what we stand for. This is absolutely absurd. They have not distanced themselves in any way, shape, or form from Antifa, who says that Donald Trump supporters and all white people are fascist Nazis, and therefore we are justified to silence them because they don't have a right to spread their hate speech. The Democrats actually, on the contrary, actually encourage them, and we see many members of Congress actually that actually openly support Antifa because of their fight that they're doing to try and stop right-wing radicalism and fascism and Nazism in the country. So they have a very difficult time separating themselves when they do something wrong, but when we do it, we have no problem saying, you're a dummy, that's not what we stand for, that's not what we believe in, and that's not the representation of our party.
Right, we're not by any means necessary. We are, get the job done, do what you can do, but don't go out of your way to hurt people. And we don't have our politicians up there like Maxine Waters and the rest of them calling for violence against political adversaries.
Right.
Our politicians aren't up there talking about run them out of their restaurants and make their life a living hell. That's not us.
Right. No, it's true.
Also, if you look back at every mass shooting and bombing in the history of the United States, I don't think that you're going to find one that
from a conservative.
That's a a registered Republican and a diehard conservative. I don't think you're going to find that.
They tried to say back in the day that Weather Underground that bombed Oklahoma City and I think they're the ones that tried to do a terrorist attack on the World Trade Centers as well. They tried to say that Weather Underground was a conservative organization that was anti-government. And that's not the case in any way, shape, or form. If you remember, actually, Bill Ayers was part of that Weather Underground, and he's going around right now. He's a professor speaking at universities, which how you have a domestic terrorist actually become a college professor teaching students is kind of concerning to me in the first place. But then he goes around and actually tours to different campuses speaking to college Democrats. When I was in college, the college Democrats paid for and brought him in as a guest speaker to the campus of Bill Ayers, former domestic terrorist of Weather Underground, because they wanted to hear what he had to say. Look, if you have a party that brings in domestic terrorists and who has tried to harm people to come and speak to your children, you probably have a problem with violence and anger management issues.
Yes, and to go another way at the same issue, when Ben Shapiro went to go speak at a college campus, they canceled his speaking engagement because they were afraid of violence.
Sure.
Not from us, but from the people who want to shut down any type of speech that they don't like.
Right. So let's let them win. Let's say because we don't want any violence from the protesters, so let's just not let you come on campus grounds.
Right. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I may not agree with something that somebody says, but I will fight and I will die to protect your right to say it in this country, because that's what this country stands for.
Hey, amen on that one. No, I absolutely agree, Deacon. I appreciate that very much. We live in very strange times, and maybe, as the eternal optimist that I am, that maybe, just maybe, this is an opportunity for us to regroup a little bit, to hit the reset button, and regardless of who did this, from a crazy, radical, misled Republican, conservative, or whether it was the Democrat insiders trying to change we have the political landscape right now where we have an election that's huge. They are so desperate to impeach President Trump. They are so desperate to try and take back the House and the Senate, to obstruct Trump, to go after Kavanaugh, to go after Trump himself, to try and reverse the tax codes, to try and reverse the immigration policy. That you're right, it's all kind of stacking up now. It didn't work against Kavanaugh. It didn't work against Trump. It didn't work in the last election. Now they're trying the caravan. Now they're trying. Who knows? It makes total sense if they did try and do something insider. Again, I don't really care right now. The fact is, maybe, just maybe, this could be the reset button for both the left and the right to say, you know what? Maybe we can just find some common ground again. Maybe the left, maybe you should raise the flag a little bit instead of kneeling for the flag, because you realize that now's the time for us to unite as a nation together and realize that we came very, very close to something disastrous happening, because who knows what would have trickled down if that actually did go off and one of these individuals would have been harmed or killed. Who knows what would have happened? It's a scary thought to think about. That's a scary thing to ponder, isn't it? If one of those actually did go off, if Barack Obama, the Messiah, the progressives, the spokesperson for the progressive agenda who's taking credit for everything trying to go on right now, if he would have been injured or killed, imagine what would have happened with an uprising from the left. If Hillary Clinton, who's still somehow relevant in the discussion in some way, shape, or form in today's times, thinking about running for president again, it's like, good, when are you finally going to get the hint, lady? You're done. You're over. If she would have been injured, imagine what would have happened. I don't know why Robert De Niro got one, because if that would have happened, I guess, I mean, obviously it would have been tragic. It would have been sad. Not saying, he's irrelevant, but at the same time, is he really relevant to the political discussion? Why did he get one other than just saying F Trump? I don't know. Again, it's the, maybe if it was from the progressive end of the aisle, maybe they see him as being one of the celebrities that people look towards now because he stood so strong against Trump. Maybe it was a crazy radical nut job that just hated Democrats. I don't know. Again, who really cares? Maybe this is going to be the reset button for us to say maybe we should find some common ground. I don't like you politically. You have terrible ideas. You want to destroy the nation. But I don't wish you ill will. I just want to defeat you politically. Yes, we're in a civil war right now. We're in a civil war politically. And that's what we have to remember. 316-721-8255. Let's go back to the phone tier line at number 3. Good morning. What's your name?
This Jim.
Hey, good morning, Jim. How are you?
Real good, Andy. Think about it. Liberal voters, this here, I think, is a thing just to pump them up and turn them up to get them to vote, because a lot of them are too lazy to get up, but now maybe this will get them turned up. And this I really think that.
The evidence looks that way to me, and you're right. I'm leaning more towards it is a ploy from the left to try and rally their base to make it look like we are hateful, angry individuals that want to destroy them physically, and this is a way for them to rally their troops right before an election time to try and go to the booth, because they're starting to see the polls, and even though they say that they're going to get this blue wave, that maybe the numbers are showing otherwise. I honestly put the tinfoil hat on. I honestly think that is a very, very likely possibility. Now, I'm not going to just say that it's for fact that it's happening, but I'm saying that it's a very good possibility, and I can totally see that argument. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Andy.
Hey, appreciate it very much. I do appreciate that. Let's go back and sneak in one more phone call before a break here, shall we? Line number 3. Good morning. What's your name?
Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Mark. How are you, sir?
A little wet, but upright and breathing.
It is. It's been nonstop rain since last night. Kind of crazy.
Yes, it has. As far as sending Robert De Niro one of those supposed bombs, I would say that they're trying to unify all of the Hollywood actors, possibly, more so against Trump than what they have been.
Or maybe have them speak out more for the election. I mean, this is coming right after Taylor Swift said that if she would have spoken out against Trump, then she bet that she could have swung by herself, swung Tennessee blue and gone for Hillary Clinton in the election. There maybe it's, hey, if one of the celebrities that's been against Trump gets a threat like this, more celebrities will come out, campaign a little bit harder, and try and get some more people to turn out.
Exactly. The other part on this, I don't know whether this is real or not. You saw the photo on Facebook, but if it was indeed a metal pipe bomb that they're trying to mail people, it's going to take more than 6 50-cent stamps to get there.
Well, and in a paper bag like this, again, it's weird. And again, I don't know whether those pictures are legit. I'm not going to go down the road of just assuming things. But if the pictures are, it is a little weird where it's in that kind of package. There was the few stamps that were on there. It didn't have the stamp of being processed through the mail, and it had a return address of Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the former head of the DNC, which is complete bogus. I mean, she's not going to anybody, whether it's on the right or the left, that ended up sending something like this, they're not going to put the return address on it and be like, oh, you got me. Oh, I have no idea how you ended up doing that. I mean, come on.
And they misspelled Florida.
Yeah.
But more so, you're sending packages to people who don't even open their mail and who probably get so many credible other threats that everything's pre-screened.
Sure.
So why would you send it to somebody that, former President Obama, when you know that it's going to go through a couple of different types of screenings?
Yeah, so he's probably not the one that's just going to be out and be like, oh, I think I'm going to go get the mail out of my front porch today. He's not. They don't do that. It's a little bit different world for them. He doesn't walk out on his front porch in his robe to pick up his morning newspaper and check the mail.
Yep. I don't. It just doesn't. There's too many inconsistencies.
Sure.
Now, whoever it was that did this needs to feel the full weight of the law come down on them.
Exactly. Amen. Whoever it is, whether it's an insider, whether it's a radical nutso, and no matter who it is, they need the fullest extent of the law applied to them, and they need attempted murder cases for every single one of these individuals. I absolutely. Mark, I appreciate that very much. Great call. If you remember, I don't know if anybody remembers the short attention span that we have, that just, what was it, a couple weeks ago? 2 staff members at Ted Cruz's office got hospitalized because of white powder that came in the mail with them, too. Times are weird. Times are crazy. There are some nutsos in the world today, and we need to figure out how to stop them because, again, this just reminds us as well how important it is to cling to our guns because we're not the ones advocating for violence, but if it comes to us, then we're prepared to handle whatever comes our way. That's the mentality that we've always had as conservatives here in the nation. Got to take a break. 7 minutes to the top of the hour. Wrapping up hour number 1. This is The Voice of Reason.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Market information from Mid-America Ag Network. It was a tough day on Wednesday for our grains and soybeans in the futures markets. Just could not seem to get anything going. Kansas City wheat finished sharply lower. December down 10.5 at 4.97. March down 10.25 at 5.23. Corn and soybeans were lower as well. December corn down 2, 3.68.25. March down 2 at 3.80.5. November soybeans down 7.25 at 8.50.25. January beans down 7.5 at 8.63.5. And each of the later months down also. We saw some pressure on the products. December soybean meal at $306.10 down $4.60. January soybean meal at $308.30 down $4.50. So not a positive day across the soy complex. Oil got in the mix too. December soybean oil down 15 points at 28.61. January down 16 points at 28.83. So not a happy day in the soy complex. Corn, Kansas City wheat struggled also. Much better news in the livestock complex. Cattle mostly higher, and the hogs were sharply higher. October live cattle up 50 at 113.27. December up at 120 at 118.35. Each of the later months was green. October feeder cattle down 45 at 154.62. A bit of an anomaly there because everything else was up. November feeder cattle up a nickel at 155.92, and the remaining months got even better. December hogs up $3 at 57.52, while February hogs up $3 at 64.42. So a very strong day for hogs, and really not all that awful for livestock, that one feeder cattle month being the sole issue there. December cotton down 192 at 77.07, so it was a tough day for cotton. March cotton was down 183 at 78.87, so a tough day all the way across for cotton. Mixed numbers in our ag futures markets as we wrapped up our midweek Wednesday market information from Mid-America Ag Network.
John Sidoric shares the advantages of having an aircraft maintenance partnership with JD Aviation Services.
We can go from simple stuff, changing oil, changing tires, annual inspection, all the way to rebuild a complete engine, replace sheet metal, treat corrosion, whatever's needed. We're a little further out, it's a lot less expensive. My overhead allows me to pass on some of those savings to our clients because I don't have as high an hourly rate.
Find out more about JD Aviation Services at iFlyAugusta.com.
Would you take a blind taste test? Instead of a brown-colored soda or a beer, let's apply this test to the race for governor. 3 options in our blind test. Ready to begin? Option number 1, a typical politician who claims to know best about education but didn't care enough to serve on the education committee in her 14 years in Topeka. Option 2, a lawyer who has been a politician for almost 20 years and whose policies mirror Sam Brownback's. Option 3, a businessman who has managed billion-dollar organizations and hundreds of employees and who has a track record of success in the private sector. What's your choice? Mine's option 3, the businessman. That's Greg Orman. Greg Orman will grow the Kansas economy and make sure our tax dollars are spent wisely so we can invest in our priorities like education, healthcare, and infrastructure without having to raise taxes. Greg Orman, obviously the best choice to move Kansas forward as governor. Paid for by Orman for Kansas, Tim Owens, Treasurer.
We live in a very crazy, sick, disgusting time. It's very sad at times. Scrolling through Facebook as we're on the break, and one of the individuals running for one of the local state representative seats here in the Wichita area made a comment saying that as they're door knocking and talking to individuals, knocked on a door, and the individual called her a Nazi lover because she is a Republican and a pro-Trump supporter. But again, remember, the hate's on the right, right? The hate is on the conservative side. The hate is on the Republican side. Unbelievable. This is the world we live in today. 316-721-8255. We'll shift gears a little bit. I don't want to focus the entire show on this. It is very interesting. As more information comes out, we will relay that on to you. I don't know if we'll get any more during the show today or not. More information hopefully will be coming out from the FBI later on, but thank God no one's been harmed or injured. Let's find this individual. Let's punish them. Let's not make this about into the election, because you know that's what they're going to do, is they're going to politicize this to death, and they're going to be used on the campaign trails in some way, shape, or form. So let's not allow that to happen. Let's keep a clear head, as we always like to do. We are the voice of reason on this show. We always like to stay reasonable when it comes to discussions, and we find the facts, because that's what we do. When we come back, we do have a lot more to get to. We have the easiest and toughest voting laws in the country by state. Also, healthcare back in the discussion for the elections. We'll do that and more in hour number 2 of The Voice of Reason.
Kubota's L2501 HST packs powerful performance into one easy-to-operate compact tractor. Designed for all-day operator comfort and easy use of implements, the L2501 HST makes mowing, digging, hauling, and lifting quick and simple. Now get payments as low as $139 a month with 0% APR financing for 84 months. Now through June 30th, 2018. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information.
We make precision-engineered compact tractors, zero-turn mowers, and diesel utility vehicles. Find a Kubota dealer near you at GoKubota.com.
Hi, I'm Bob.
And I'm Amanda.
With Continental Truck Accessories.
It won't be long, and the lake and boat towing will be this year's memory for another year.
As we turn focus to field goals and deer stands, Team Continental is your seasonal headquarters.
To show your truck some love.
Ranch hand and Western grill guards.
WeatherTech floor mats.
Truck vault security storage systems.
And of course, ATC and Century toppers.
And bed covers by Roll and Lock and X-Stay.
This season, stick with the winning team.
Team Continental at Continental Truck Accessories.
6701 South Broadway.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios. Rusty Eck Ford, family owned, customer friendly. This is the Big Talker, 102.5 FM and 1480 AM, KQAM, Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Heartland Avionics and JD Aviation, your aircraft maintenance partners at Augusta Municipal Airport. Learn more at iflyaugusta.com.
I'm Stephanie Austin. Wichita police say that one person has died after a single vehicle crash in South Wichita. Officers were dispatched to the 4100 block of South Seneca around 8:15 last night. They found a man in his 50s inside a vehicle that had crashed into a tree. Officials say it appears that the man was traveling at a high rate of speed when he struck the tree. They would like to speak to anyone who may have witnessed the accident. Wichita police have arrested a 22-year-old man in connection to the city's latest homicide. Officer Charlie Davidson said that Corey Bentley was booked Tuesday for first-degree murder in the Monday morning shooting of 43-year-old Jackie Jerome. Officers responded to the shooting at the Deluxe Inn near Kellogg and Tyler Road around 4 a.m. Jerome had been shot multiple times and died at a local hospital. Authorities say the shooting stemmed from an altercation between the two men. It was not a random incident. A Sedgwick County jury yesterday found Stephen Bodine guilty of first-degree murder in the May 2017 death of 3-year-old Evan Brewer. The week-long trial included video and photos showing Evan being abused, including being chained naked in a basement and forced to stand in a corner for hours. Bodine will be sentenced December 17th. An effort by some members of the Sedgwick County Commission to oust County Manager Michael Scholes is under investigation by the FBI for potential obstruction of justice based on possible whistleblower retaliation. That's according to documents obtained by the Wichita Eagle. One document did show that Commissioner David Unruh and possibly others had entertained the idea of firing Scholes late last year because of what they saw as a breach of loyalty in his providing information on commissioner conduct to the FBI. That could potentially be a violation of federal, civil, and criminal laws that protect government employees who inform authorities of wrongdoing by their superiors. Remember, early voting is available today until 5 p.m. at the Sedgwick County Election Office, 510 North Main. Right now, let's check in at the sports desk.
Last night during a press conference at the University of Kansas, Bill Self said that his staff or himself have never offered inducements to a student-athlete or a family in order to influence them on their college decision. These comments by Coach Bill Self are a response to last week's testimony that suggested KU and its staff were involved in a pay-to-play with Adidas. In the World Series last night, the Boston Red Sox go up 2-0 in the series with a 4-2 win over the Dodgers. An off night tonight as the two teams will travel to L.A. for Game 3 tomorrow. From the sports desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Hi, I'm Bob.
And I'm Amanda.
With Continental Truck Accessories.
It won't be long, and the lake and boat towing will be this year's memory for another year.
As we turn focus to field goals and deer stands, Team Continental is your seasonal headquarters.
To show your truck some love.
Ranch Hand and Western Grill Guards.
WeatherTech floor mats.
Truck Vault security storage systems.
And of course, ATC and Century toppers.
And bed covers by Roll & Lock and X-Stay.
This season, stick with the winning team.
Team Continental at Continental Truck Accessories.
6701 South Broadway.
Would you take a blind taste test? Instead of a brown-colored soda or a beer, let's apply this test to the race for governor. 3 options in our blind test. Ready to begin? Option number 1, a typical politician who claims to know best about education but didn't care enough to serve on the education committee in her 14 years in Topeka. Option 2, a lawyer who has been a politician for almost 20 years and whose policies mirror Sam Brownback's. Option 3, a businessman who has managed billion-dollar organizations and hundreds of employees and who has a track record of success in the private sector. What's your choice? Mine's option 3, the businessman. That's Greg Orman. Greg Orman will grow the Kansas economy and make sure our tax dollars are spent wisely so we can invest in our priorities like education, healthcare, and infrastructure without having to raise taxes. Greg Orman, obviously the best choice to move Kansas forward as governor. Paid for by Orman for Kansas, Tim Owens, Treasurer.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
Police in New York are telling the Associated Press the suspicious package taken this past hour from the Tribeca neighborhood building associated with actor Robert De Niro in Lower Manhattan appears linked to 7 other bomb devices sent to Democrats and CNN. This one may have gotten closer to an intended victim, as we hear from correspondent Shimon Prokupecz.
Frightening is that this package was already on the 7th floor of the building. I don't know what's on the 7th floor, but we know that this was addressed to Robert De Niro.
The device has been taken away in a special containment truck. Meanwhile, President Trump is tweeting this morning that the current anger is, quote, caused by the purposely false and inaccurate reporting of news media. Trump also tweeting about the migrant caravan working its way north to the U.S. border through Mexico, writing, quote, I am bringing out the military for this national emergency. This will be stopped. Well, stock futures are currently showing strong gains ahead of the opening bell on Wall Street this morning, following yesterday's big losses. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Spears Restaurant and Pie Shop at the northeast corner of Town West Mall on Maple. Getting it right for over 60 years. Spears Restaurant and Pie Shop.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Cloudy and 54. Rain likely, mainly before 5. Tonight, 40% chance of rain before 8. Cloudy but clearing a bit. Low 45. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. A high near 70. Winds gusting over 20 miles an hour. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:06, it's currently 50 degrees.
Broadcasting from the Midwest Kia Studios, this is The Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM KQAM. It's time for Reason.
They want the endorsements because they don't want to look as radical as what they actually are. And the Republicans that are endorsing them, they are showing not as a member of the Republican Party, but as an individual who is so desperate to fit in with the fads, with the trends. It's the retro thing to do, man.
and I'm the Republican that supports the Democrat who hates the Republican agenda. This is the latest campaign because they can't win any other way.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
Hey, welcome into the Voice of Reason. Hour number 2 of the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM, simulcasting as well on TV, KGPT TV channel 2610. Good morning, welcome aboard. It's an honor to have you along today for the ride on a pre-Friday celebration. Yeah, it's a Thursday. We have one more full week before Election Day. Early voting's going on right now. We are a week and a half away from actual midterm election day. I'm really excited about this. It is something we've been building up anticipation for a really long time. Regardless of the shenanigans and the current events and the craziness in the world, we're excited to go and vote, make our voice heard, and really bring the country back to traditionalism. Hey, trigger warning for all the progressives. Traditionalism, conservatism, originalism. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? I know. Yeah, right? We actually fight for things that have worked for the last couple hundred years, and we just kind of want to stick to that, and they want to change everything to think that it's going to work better, and there's a crazy time in the world. Welcome in 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. If you want to join into the program, coming up in an hour from now, we have Phil Martinez of Phil's Coins. He joins us the last Thursday of every single month, and we'll look forward to him being in studio with us in just a little bit. But until then, it is open lines to you. We also have the YouTube live feed that's up and rolling as well. If you want to jump on and make a comment, say good morning, chime into whatever we're discussing today. Tomorrow we will do our Pass It or Axe It, and you'll be able to comment there as well. And we do want to give away, if you do go onto YouTube, find the KQAM radio page, or if you go to Facebook.com and you find the link there and you can hit it and it'll link you to YouTube. We're going to do one at the end of this hour and one at the end of the next hour, but we got some more books from the Kansas Policy Institute. What was really the matter with the Kansas tax plan, the undoing of a good idea, the taxes, the budget, the spending, all that good stuff. It's all in here. It's a fantastic book. It's probably, I don't know if it's a quick enough read to read before Election Day. Maybe if you're a crazy reader. I don't have time to read a whole lot, so this would take me a little bit longer to read. But if you want to read it before Election Day to understand the importance, the significance of what we're going to do from here on out, this is the book to do it. So we're going to give away one copy before the end of this hour, one copy before the end of next hour, to anybody that goes on and leaves a comment, whether it's just saying hi and good morning or whether it's saying that I'm a jerk or I don't really care on the YouTube live feed. So go and do that really soon, and we'll do a giveaway. Plus, we do have, at the bottom of this hour, we have our complimentary burger and fries from Riverside Cafe, and we'll give that away in just a little bit as well. So until then, though, it's 316-721-8255. There's a story from the Kansas City Star as we talk about what?
Decision 2018.
Pay attention.
Yeah, Decision 2018, talking about the elections left and right. There is a story out of the Kansas City Star. Healthcare was once a weapon of Republicans. Around KC, it's now the Democrats' turn. Now, I don't know how the Democrats can run a campaign. So far, they've had no campaign platform other than we hate Donald Trump and we want to reverse everything he's done. Talk about the party of hate. But now they're trying to run on an actual platform. And you've heard from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her $40 trillion of her wanting to spend on Medicare for all and for all these other good social programs. You've heard from Bernie Sanders advocating for Medicare for all and trying to expand all the social programs and focusing on health care. Now, if you remember the Republicans, when they ran in the midterms before and in the presidential race in 2016, the big push was repeal Obamacare, repeal Obamacare, repeal Obamacare, because it's the failed system. It's not working. We have to do something about it. And that was the driving push for Republicans. That was their main focal point. Now, we've kind of sort of done that at the end of this year. Come January 1 of 2019, the individual mandate will be dead and gone. That's exciting news. That's good stuff. Now, we have a ways to go to replace the system or to do it. Here's my replacement. Get rid of government infiltration into healthcare in any way, shape, or form. Allow the private sector to do it. Open up competition across lines. Allow small businesses to actually create new insurance companies. Allow things to begin to happen. And then you can see growth. That would be my plan. But the Democrats are now running on a platform of actual semi-substance about health care. And Sharice Davids in the 3rd Congressional District against Kevin Yoder, that one's beginning to heat up as she's now on the campaign trail going after him based on his vote to repeal Obamacare.
When I think about what health care and access to health care means, it has to mean that we continue to protect folks with pre-existing conditions.
Yeah, and that's always the attack. Republicans hate pre-existing conditions, which isn't true. It's not true. Now, here's what I will say when it comes to this, and I know candidates can't say this because they will get attacked for this. If you say, let's let the private sector choose on what plans you want, I would like to see maybe a plan with pre-existing condition included, maybe a plan that doesn't have pre-existing conditions included, and then you can choose which one you want. I know options and choices in the private market. Oh, man. Wow. I've never thought of such a crazy, wild concept before of you actually being able to have choices in the market. Now, Republicans have been very staunch on saying that whatever option comes out of repealing and replacing Obamacare, that it will have pre-existing conditions in the plans, that you have to have those because they've tried to say that, well, that being pregnant was a pre-existing condition, therefore you wouldn't be able to get covered under an insurance plan. That's absurd. That's ridiculous. Pre-existing conditions, yeah. You know what? You need to have those in there. I think you should have options. If you want a super cheap thing and you're young and you're 20 years old and you're starting to work on your own, you're healthy and you don't have any issues, and yeah, you know what? I don't need pre-existing conditions. I want to get a cheaper plan that's super awesome for me while I'm in college, while I'm doing my thing, and I can actually afford it. Or a family. Yeah, you know what? We got some issues. I want to get a pre-existing condition plan that has it included. You have options that way. But the Democrats running saying that Republicans, again, hate old people, they hate sick people, they hate disabled people, and we need to have pre-existing conditions, and Republicans want to repeal that. Again, being the hateful individuals trying to pawn off us being the hateful individuals, which just isn't true. So she's going on the campaign trail saying this. Kevin Yoder coming out on the defense saying that he actually does support pre-existing conditions and that he does support still the repeal of Obamacare, and we have a ways to continue repealing because what we're doing right now is the stagnation of a half withdrawn, half repealed, half still in, sitting on the fence, not sure what's going to happen type of Obamacare plan, and it's ruining the nation. I don't know how many other companies, if you own a company going into work right now, have tried to set up healthcare plans for your employees for the upcoming 2019 year, and oh yeah, premiums have gone up. Prices have gone up again. Deductibles have gone up again. It's more expensive. It's getting harder and harder to actually get it, either for a business plan, for a family, or for an individual plan outside of employment. It's very difficult. It's very challenging. We're halfway in, halfway out right now, which is causing more people to be frustrated, which in turn, in the long run, will turn people back to the Democrats to say, you know what, we need to go full on Medicare because we can't afford it because we heard that we repealed the individual mandate. We heard that we repealed part of Obamacare. Look at where we're at. The Republicans failed. It's time for us to actually finish it. Finish it. Now, we talked yesterday, and if you missed the show yesterday, we talked with James Thompson from the 4th Congressional District, Democratic candidate. He was in studio with us for a little bit, and we talked about health care a bit, and we had kind of a back and forth, and we got to kind of admit, or have him admit, that the Medicare option in a competitive private market is not the way to go, and that it would actually kill off competition as it has in the past. But their plan, again, is about the more government options because they see healthcare as this crazy, you know, when the founding fathers were writing out the Bill of Rights with all the rights the people have, we have the right to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble. We have the right to keep and bear arms. We have the right to have a just trial or in due process. Oh, and by the way, we have the right for us to have all health care because the government provides that for us. Apparently, they wrote that somewhere. I haven't found that article yet. I haven't found that amendment yet, but apparently it's in there somewhere. This is what he had to say yesterday.
What Ocasio was talking about was a Medicare for All plan, and the cost on that was $32 trillion, but we're already paying $36 trillion right now. So you're actually saving money under that Medicare for All plan when you look at the overall cost of it.
Okay, first off, I'd like to see the numbers on there. I don't know how expanding a Medicare for All and having everybody pay into it is going to, and everybody be signed up, everybody getting their health care benefits from that, you going to the doctor for whether it's for the regular checkup or for an actual surgery or for a heart thing or for cancer treatment, how everybody in the entire nation of 300 and some odd million people are going to be signed up on Medicare is going to make it cheaper. That does not make sense. That does not make sense. One of these things is not like the other.
The plan that I'm putting out there is making Medicare available to anyone who wants to buy in, or you can keep your private insurance. So if you want to get health care and you can't afford the private insurance, then you can buy into Medicare. Doing that, it will allow Medicare to remain solvent and will allow young people to buy into it. They're not going to be needing the health care like older people will. It also forces competition with the insurance companies and forces them to lower down their rates. But before we do any of that, we have to make sure, and this is regardless of what kind of plan gets put in place, we have to reform Medicare, one, so that we can negotiate out drug prices with the big pharmaceutical companies and get rid of this, crony capitalism that we have going on out there where people are paying off our politicians to put in place something where you can't negotiate out a drug price, because that's definitely not free market.
Sure. It's all right. So, and this continues on. I want to play this with my response to that and the question that I asked him. But, bringing up the big pharma, bringing up the insurance, but bringing up the competition. Again, I don't know how a government option actually creates competition in the market when they don't have to look for a profit, which we get to here in just a second. But also the fact that Medicare, that's what we did with Obamacare. Expanded Medicaid across the states. Medicaid expansion. All across the board. You see it right now in Kansas. We're trying to work on CanCare expansion. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? The legislature's looking at it, and many of them saying that if we don't do it here at the state level, we're going to force the states to do it at the federal level, because that's just what we have to do, because we need the Medicaid expansion. We need the government to grow and expand the way that we want it to grow and expand so that we can get subsidized money from the federal government, because that's not our taxpayer money. No. Now, here was my response in asking him about the prices and competition and the freedom of choice, in his response. I think a lot of people might be hesitant because when they heard Barack Obama say, if you want to keep the plan or keep the package or keep whatever that you want to, then you can, and then they ended up going away, because when there is that government option, and I agree with you, I like more competition. That's definitely what drives down the prices, that drives the higher quality, the lower prices, and more people are able to actually be into the system in some way, shape, or form. When there's a government option that's too big, though, almost, and I think that's what we saw with Obamacare, was that it killed off the competition, because with the government option, they're not looking for the profit to stay in business, and it could drive everybody else out. I mean, could you see that happening?
It possibly could happen, I guess.
It could possibly happen. It did. It did happen. How many people saw their small family clinics go away? The small family practitioners. How many went away? How many insurance companies went away? And we see just a few stay. How many people try to go to get a drug test now or a blood test or try and get some kind of testing done and the insurance doesn't cover it anymore? How many actually have to pay out of pocket 3 times more than what they used to before it even begins to cover it? And then when it does cover it, it's only a small fraction of. It did happen. That was the prime example. That was Obamacare right there. So we're advocating for an already failed system that we know already failed? That's what we're going to hype up for?
But, right now, and this is the thing that I keep saying, my plan, this is what I'm putting forward. If somebody's got a better plan, please come forward with it. The reason that the ACA was enacted was because healthcare costs and our health insurance industry were out of control prior to the ACA.
So we were desperate, but we just kind of admitted right there that it's not necessarily a good plan, that it's already been tried, but if we got a better plan, then I'm open ears. That, to me, that's not the way to run on it, is it? 316-721-8255. Let's go to the phones here. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Scott.
Hey, good morning, Scott. How are you?
Doing all right. Hey, so the problem with insurance is it's not insurance if you've already got an issue. Insurance is designed to be there to protect you against the possibility of an issue.
Sure.
And so the cost necessarily has to go up because people aren't buying insurance until they need it, because why would I buy something that I don't need if I can get it once I need it?
Right. And the money that you were supposed to be putting into the pool throughout that time when you haven't had an issue that is supposed to be there for you when you do need it is not there anymore, and it's sucking everybody else dry, and that's what's destroying a lot of the insurance companies.
So the pre-existing conditions thing needs to go away. The way that you fix it is by making insurance cheap enough for everybody to be in so you don't get soaked every month, so you can afford to have it so it can be there when you do need it.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, it's a great point, and I appreciate that, Scott, very much. We've got to take a break here, but you're spot on. You're spot on. That's what drains the system. Oh, we have to have a pre-existing conditions. You're right. Why didn't we get it when we were young? You're on your parents' plan. It should be as soon as you get off your parents' plan. As a smart individual, as a responsible individual, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get it again. I'm going to get it through my employment. If I don't have it there, then I'll find the insurance plan myself. But guess what? It's cheap enough that I can, even as a young college kid, as a poor individual, as an individual that doesn't make a whole lot of income. That's the way you do it. That's the way you're supposed to do it. And they don't. And then they wonder, oh, gee, why? Why are they closing? Why is the insurance going up on the premiums and the deductibles? Why is the price going up? Why? Because we have individuals that aren't responsible, that aren't taking care of themselves, and just jump on it whenever they want to. The pre-existing conditions issue is a discussion to be had, but again, it would be solved in the private sector. The market's always able to come up with solutions when it needs to, when there's a problem that arises. Government is not going to do it in any way, shape, or form. You're absolutely right. Got to take a break. 22 minutes past the hour. This is The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network. Well, in keeping up with the demands of food security, the ability to trace cattle movement in the event of a disease outbreak has been made even more apparent. Kansas formed the Kansas Strategic Agriculture Growth Initiative to identify cattle disease traceability as a top priority for the beef industry. With this in mind, collaborations across the cattle industry will be conducting a pilot livestock traceability project entitled Cattle Trace. Among the collaborators will be the USDA. Greg Ibaugh, USDA Undersecretary, explains how they're looking at traceability differently than they did before.
We need to develop the framework to allow the databases that states have and the databases that producers have and industries that support those producers have. We're going to develop the way for when we need that information. If we have foot and mouth disease show up in the United States, we're going to be able to go to those groups and say, help us identify, help us track where those animals are and where they have been or where they have gone, so we can stop the spread of a disease.
Cassie Kniebel, project manager of Cattle Trace, says the project has 3 objectives.
First one is to develop a purpose-built infrastructure for an animal disease traceability system. And that kind of entails everything from developing the pilot protocol, evaluating what technologies we're going to use, the logistics. The second objective is evaluating that system. So looking at the efficiencies and capabilities of the system, doing mock traceback exercises, and evaluating if that system is effective and useful to the industry for disease traceability.
The project has funding through the spring of 2020, at which point they hope to have a plan in place. Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network.
Then he goes up the racetrack, and here comes Kyle Busch.
The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs.
Down to the inside, battle for the race lead. They're side by side.
Race 7.
Kyle Busch to the inside, they bump.
And the final 8 playoff contenders have nowhere to hide.
Here they come to the line.
At the tiny Martinsville half mile.
And it's a massive crash behind them.
The First Data 500, Sunday at 12:30 on the Motor Racing Network.
Your home for NASCAR is the Big Talker, KQAM.
Fall has a certain feel to it, like no other. And if you're the type of person that likes to get things done outside, there's nothing like the feel of steel in your grip to get the job done. Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Mays has perhaps the best selection of steel power equipment in western Wichita, maybe south central Kansas. Check out the steel products that have earned the most praise from owners like you at Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Mays, 5204 North Mays Road, where we take pride in serving you.
El Dorado Livestock Auction, 2.5 miles east of El Dorado on Highway 54. Pipe cattle pens with a capacity to hold 5,000 head of cattle. Covered pens to hold 3,500 to 4,000 head. There's a fully modern vet barn and a fully computerized sale program for fast and accurate settlement. The sales ring, comfortable stadium seating in a climate-controlled arena, and new scales. The sale order on sale day, stock cows and bulls, followed by calves, then feeder cattle, then butcher cows and bulls. The goal at El Dorado Livestock Auction is to get the highest possible price for the producer by bringing in the best possible buyers. The auction barn staff provides a friendly, personal relationship with each customer. The staff gets to know the customer and his or her individual needs, and then they meet those needs with an honest, full-value approach that serves both buyer and seller. El Dorado Livestock Auction, a sale every Thursday at 11 a.m. El Dorado Livestock Auction, 2.5 miles east of El Dorado on Highway 54.
Two things that keep customers coming back and referring their friends to Lee Reed Engraving are superior quality and unparalleled customer service. The time to recognize team members through annual awards or employee contributions this year is right around the corner. Lee Reed Engraving specializes in the personalization of awards and recognition items for businesses, schools, churches, and professional organizations of all types. You can learn more at LeeReedEngraving.com. Lee Reed Engraving, 3417 West Central.
Casper, the friendly ghost, the friendliest ghost you know. Though grown-ups might look at him with fright, the children all love
27 minutes past the hour. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason. Great to have you along today. Starting off your morning the best way we can, waking you up the right way. You know what's crazy? You can take this one of two ways. The fact that Democrats are running on health care as their main platform talking point, other than just hating Donald Trump, means one of two things. Either number one, they're desperate and they realize that it's a lost issue, or number two, it's because Republicans kind of failed to actually fix the system when they had the opportunity to do so. And I think there's a little bit on both ends of that. Honestly, Republicans should have begun to focus on the continuation of repealing Obamacare, to actually get the private sector back, to get competition back, to get the insurance companies back into competing across state lines, doing the thing of what Donald Trump had talked about on the campaign trail. We should have done that to where we don't even have this issue. But if the Democrats think they had the solution on this issue, then they're sorely mistaken. They're wrong. They don't have the solution to this in any way, shape, or form. We got about a minute before the bottom of the hour, but let's get a phone call in here, shall we? Line number one. Good morning. What's your name?
Hi, it's Kurt.
Hey, Kurt. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Hey, I would say that I'm not saying the government needs to step in, but I think there needs to be some transparency. I know somebody that was recently injured and they needed a medical device. They were charged $270 for this item. They looked it up, and I think it's like $89 on Amazon. You know, and the insurance company, they called the insurance company, and their reply was, well, that's what we allow them to charge for it. So
sure.
I think, well, I'm not saying the government needs to regulate that. I think, at some point, these insurance companies say, hey, why are we allowing $270? Or why isn't there an option? Okay, the doctor says, hey, you can buy it from my office and walk out today, or you can get it on the open market, your choice. And so I think, in Time Life had an article not too long ago, talking about how there's no really standards on what gets charged for the procedures and all that.
I'm glad you brought it up. I tell you what, hang on the line. Don't go anywhere. We got to take a bottom of the hour break here, but stay right here because you bring up a really interesting point, and I think it needs to be addressed because you're right. They're charging ridiculous amounts for equipment, for tests, and for a lot of this, and that needs to be addressed. We'll do that when we come back. Stay here.
Now back to the KQAM News Desk.
A New York City police bomb squad has recovered a suspicious package addressed to actor Robert De Niro and delivered to the 7th floor of a building associated with him in Lower Manhattan. It was noticed by 2 security guards this morning. Correspondent Shimon Prokopich tells us it's being treated like the other bomb devices sent to major Democrats and CNN.
There are similarities, I'm being told, to what we've been dealing with. Law enforcement officials say there are similarities, which is why we're seeing the response that we're seeing from the NYPD.
The FBI is investigating a U.S. postal facility in Newcastle, Delaware, about a similar package addressed to former Vice President Joe Biden. President Trump tweets this morning, quote, I am bringing out the military for this national emergency, referring to the migrant caravan heading toward the southern U.S. border. Stock futures are currently showing strong gains ahead of the opening bell, with much ground to regain after yesterday's major losses across the boards. The Red Sox took Game 2 of the World Series last night, beating the Dodgers 4-2. I'm Michael Toscano.
The national debt is now over $20 trillion. What happens next? Rising inflation drops in the dollar's value. Some experts say another crash is coming. You can fight this, not with stocks or bonds, but with gold and silver coins in an IRA from Augusta Precious Metals. Call 855-858-5807 and learn how an IRA backed by physical gold and silver can hedge against inflation. Call Augusta Precious Metals right now at 855-858-5807 and get a free gold IRA guide. Call 855-858-5807.
As a small business owner, you make every dollar count. So what could you do with $10? Go to Vistaprint.com today and you'll get 500 high-quality custom business cards for only $9.99. That's less than 2 cents per card. And at Vistaprint, your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed. So it's never been easier to turn 500 strangers into connections. Just visit Vistaprint.com and use promo code 7272 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 7272.
Mid-America Network News. One polling location in Dodge City has grabbed people's attention all over the nation. Some people are saying it's suppressing people's right to vote now that it's moved outside the city limits to the Western State Bank Expo Center that's a mile from the nearest bus stop. It's harder for people who don't have transportation to get to the polling location. It's out in the country. The city is offering free transportation to any person that wants to vote. Voters can call 620-371-3879 to make a ride reservation or check the city's webpage. So far, only 3 people have made reservations. A judge is waiting for written opinions before deciding whether there is sufficient evidence for a Kansas undersheriff to be tried for involuntary manslaughter for fatally shooting a man with a beanbag round. KWCH reports the final decision is not expected until February in the case against Barber County Undersheriff Virgil Dusty Brewer. I'm Stephanie Austin.
Yoder Meats has a wide variety of quality meats and a knowledgeable team to help you find just what you're looking for. Whether you're feeding 4 or 40, Yoder Meats has great meat for any occasion. Steaks and burgers to cinnamon rolls and bierox and everything in between. Stop by on your way home or call ahead for big orders. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for the latest deals and weekly specials. Taste the old-fashioned flavor at Yoder Meats in Yoder and 3 locations in Wichita.
Kubota's L2501 HST packs powerful performance into one easy-to-operate compact tractor. Designed for all-day operator comfort and easy use of implements, the L2501 HST makes mowing, digging, hauling, and lifting quick and simple. Now get payments as low as $139 a month with 0% APR financing for 84 months. Now through June 30th, 2018. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information.
We make precision-engineered compact tractors, zero-turn mowers, and diesel utility vehicles. Find a Kubota dealer near you at GoKubota.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Cloudy and 54, rain likely mainly before 5. Tonight, 40% chance of rain before 8. Cloudy but clearing a bit, low 45. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high near 70. Winds gusting over 20 miles an hour. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:34, it's currently 50 degrees.
This segment of the Voice of Reason on KQAM brought to you by Riverside Cafe, home of the 3-pound burger and hand-cut fries, plus breakfast all day long. 2 Wichita locations and 824 North Baltimore in Derby. Riverside Cafe. It's time for some common sense, sanity, and reason.
You can't handle the truth.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
35 minutes past the hour. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. Great to have you today on a Thursday, the pre-Friday celebration, making it happen, kicking ass every single day, and we love it because that's what we do. Getting pumped up. Yeah, let's get pumped up. Let's do it. 316-721-8255. This portion of the Voice of Reason brought to you by Riverside Cafe. 2 locations in Wichita, 1 in Derby, 824 North Baltimore in Derby, 739 West 13th Street in Wichita, and 9125 West Central Avenue. We got your complimentary burger and fries that we'll give away here at the end of this segment. They do have breakfast all day long. They have the Hall of Fame you got to go check out. They have some fantastic food, some great portions. It makes you extremely full. I tell you what, I was going to do that 3-pound burger thing. I ended up doing the 1 pound or the 1.5 pound. Yeah, it was too much to even do in one meal. I'm just saying. So it is fantastic. It's awesome. It's so good, and you're not going to want to stop. But we have your complimentary burger and fries we'll give to you at the end of the segment, and we may partner it up with a copy of the book, What Was Really the Matter with the Kansas Tax Plan? The Undoing of a Good Idea with Dave Traubert and the Kansas Policy Institute. We'll give away a copy of that book along with your burger and fry from Riverside Cafe. 316-721-8255. We still have our caller on the line, and brought up a really good point when we talk about health care, which, again, I find interesting that this is the campaign tactic the Democrats are using, what they're going to run on, because we don't want socialism. We don't want government control. We don't want government shenanigans in our health care in any way, shape, or form. At least I don't. Now, it brought up a good point about, well, there's a lot of the equipment. Let's say you need a piece of equipment, you need a test done, you need something done to you, you need just to go to the doctor, and they charge the insurance outrageous amounts of money when it's not worth that much. And it falls right in line. I mean, my wife, when she went to the doctor a couple of years ago, they ended up charging like $50 for a cotton ball. Why? Because they can. And here's why I think it's happening, and let me know if you think this is correct or not. But the reason I think this happens is because there's so many people that default and that file the bankruptcy and that don't pay, that if they charge a high amount, they know that they'll at least get some of it in order to actually get back. And the family physicians, when they're charging the insurance by $50 a cotton ball sort of thing, because they use the cotton ball, so they charge it, and they're going to charge it ridiculous amounts, they know that there's been so many people defaulting on these things that if they charge a ridiculous amount, they're going to get at least a little bit of it back to where they can actually maintain. Is that the way the system should be? Obviously not, because I think that we've pushed ourselves to the brink of collapsing the system in that sense. But that's what they do. If, hey, you know what, I'm not going to get all the money back. If I only charge the regular amount, then I'm probably not going to get anything back, because they're still going to default on this bill. So I'm at least going to charge as much as I can, get a little bit of it back, and then I can maintain. If we're able to start cleaning up the system, getting the government out, getting the insurance back to where it needs to be, having competition, having the high quality, having the low prices, doing what we need to do to actually get more people onto the plans, then I think that type of mentality would go away. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, possibly. I think, part of it is, I've gone to doctors that don't take insurance. You pay cash and then you refile, and they're really not, not that much more expensive than the regular doctor. I think, it's the transparency. It's not. So you gotta, you're part of the deductible. A doctor visit is $25 or $35.
Sure.
Or a more expensive, $50 cotton ball. They get $25 or whatever from the insurance company. If the person does default, they're losing $25, but they still made,
still made what they needed to keep going. Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm not, I think doctors need to make a profit. I think they probably need to make a pretty good profit. Go to school for 10 years, become a doctor, and between school and residency, it's a big investment.
Right. And I'm not doing that as a knock on the doctor. I'm doing that as a knock on the insurance process, as you mentioned. I mean, with so many people defaulting on it, in order for the doctor, for the family physician, just the small mom and pop doctor that wants to take care of individuals, that's the only way they can survive, is seeing what they can get out of whatever they can, what little bit they can back from the insurance companies.
Right. Well,
yeah,
I agree maybe in that point, but I think there still needs to be some oversight or some transparency. When you go into the local grocery store, you've got the premium stuff and the less expensive stuff, and it's a choice.
Sure.
You make what you're paying up front. Whereas this person, sure, I'm hurt, I need this thing. You walk out, and a month later you got a bill for $270.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe if they were taking cash, maybe they could charge $125 for it, and
right.
And everybody be happy. I'm not opposed to making profit and making a good profit, but
sure,
sometimes excess kind of steps in a little bit.
Sure. Well, hey, I get it. No, I appreciate it. I want to seek in some more phone calls here, but you're right in the sense that we need to have the options. We need to have the options, and the options are going to come from the private sector. They're not going to come from the government options. They're not going to come from the government regulation telling the companies how to do things, because that is, regardless of what some have tried to say on the show as well, that is socialism. You may not be controlling and saying that we actually own the business, but when you regulate them to death to tell them exactly how to steer their business in all directions, that is socialism. That is the government control. That is the government option, and that's not what we want. You mentioned, let's have the lower-priced ones that doesn't have really anything. It's just very basic, but people, if they want it, then they can have that, but they know the consequences of that. If they want something a little more substantial to where it does include the pre-existing conditions or it does include more heftier types of medical issues or whatever the case is, then if you choose to do that, then you have the right to do that one as well. We need the choices. We need the options in the market. And then remember that you get what you pay for. You cannot sign up for a cheap package and then turn around and say that I got, and say, oh, yeah, by the way, I was diagnosed with cancer 6 months ago. I need the treatment for that. And why aren't you covering it? Because you're not entitled to it. I don't know when we got the entitlement mentality of thinking that we have the right to keep and bear arms, we have the right to freedom of expression and the right to protest and the right to freedom of speech, and then we have the right to health care. I'm pretty sure that when they wrote the documentation of the Founding Fathers back in the day and they were writing the rights that people have, they have the right to life. What you do with your life and how you take care of your life is up to you, but you have the right to life. You have the right to pursue happiness. You don't have the right to guaranteed happiness. That would be socialism, and that's not what we support in any way, shape, or form. Healthcare is not a right. Healthcare is a benefit. We are lucky enough in a first world country to have a great healthcare system to where we actually have the option to sign up for healthcare packages. That's why we're so great. We have the greatness to actually have the option to sign up, and we need the competition to have more options to sign up. And when we do that, we are the greatest nation on the face of the earth because we actually live in a country that offers that. Go to a third world country and say, I want to sign up for your deluxe health care package. Really? It's not there. Is that a human right? It's not there. There's people living in these little jungles and in the deserts. In all these third world countries and little tiny villages where they don't have electricity, let alone a doctor with a CAT scan and with an MRI and with an X-ray machine to try and diagnose what's wrong with you. No. You walk through the field, you get blown up with a mine, you lose a leg, they wrap it up and send you on your way. That's what you do because you have to survive. We live in a nation to where we are privileged, we are great, we are lucky as hell, and we are blessed to have the option to sign up for a health care package of saying, you know what, when I have a medical issue, that I'm going to have a little bit of coverage to take care of me and help me with that. It's not a right to demand to have that. We're lucky enough to have it. Now let's make it the best system that we can. But the Democrats and the progressives, they think that it's just this guaranteed right, and that's just right along with the Bill of Rights, right in there saying that the general welfare means that you just demand it and you should have it and you should be demanded. You should have the right to other people's resources and to other people's services, and that's just not the case. We are fortunate and lucky and blessed enough to live in a nation to where we have that option to take care of ourselves. It's just whether we do it responsibly or not. Let's go back to the phones here. Line number 2. Good morning. What's your name?
Danny.
Hey, good morning, Danny. How are you?
Okay.
Good. What you got for us?
Oh, I've been on disability since I was 46. I got disabled on the job, and they've taken good care of me. But they've like my last prescription, I've been switched around to doctors. I can't see because I'm on pain medication, opiates.
Okay.
And I was seeing my regular doctor for 15 years, and he was prescribing them for me. Well, I can no longer see my local doctor, who was 15 minutes away. I live over by Bueller.
Okay.
And I had to travel to McPherson to see my doctor, which was no problem. And so then they said I had to go to Hutchinson to see a pain specialist. And I go to the pain specialist, and he throws me right on a drug called Suboxone, which is a drug that weans you off of the opiates.
Okay.
And I'm like, I didn't understand what that drug was. It's not really a
drug to wean you off another drug, yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to wean me off what I've been on for 15 years.
Sure.
So I went back and told my regular doctor, I can't do this. And I even called the White House on the deal, and they said, no, they need to wean you off of what you've been on for the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two other options I had, was to see a doctor in the town up east of Salina.
Sure. Well, what it sounds like is what they're doing is, and this is again a consequence of government health care, is that they don't have the time to actually look at you and say, okay, you have this issue. You've been on this pill for a long time. We don't want you to be addicted to this pill or be so accustomed to this pill that you can't live without it, sort of thing. So we need to find ways to wean you off and try and, with therapy or whatever else we need to do to take care of you. But under government health care, under this Obamacare system, under what they've been doing is, you know what? You've been on this pill. We're going to get you another pill to wean you off this pill, and then you're going to have issues with this pill, and we're going to wean you off this, and we're just going to throw more and more and more pharmaceuticals. You want to talk about the pharmaceutical industry and Bernie Sanders and all these progressives that are against the big pharma sort of thing. Guess what? Big pharma is flourishing under Obamacare because doctors no longer have the time to take care of your needs the right way. They say, oh, you're in pain. Here's a pill. Go home and take care of it, and it'll just get better on its own, because they don't have the time to actually take the necessary steps they need to in order to properly take care of you to make sure that you're right.
Well, I think part of that is true, but the way they've done it now with this opiate crisis, it is they've done a one-size-fits-all.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to knock everybody down to a certain equivalent. So now, anyway, I have to drive to Wichita to see the other available pain management doctor.
Wow. They just bounce you around all over the place. That's sad.
Yeah.
That's
so they're
sad.
bouncing me around, and which, the doctor that I'm seeing in Wichita, he's a great guy, and he explained it to me, very, very well. But so he's weaning me down, which is probably a good thing. At first, I didn't think so, because I thought, well, what's this going to do to my pain?
Sure.
Well, I'm dealing with it. It's just something you have to deal with.
Sure. That's unfortunate.
So I go, he weaned me down. I was on 80 milligrams of Oxycontin, and he weaned me down to 60, gradually working me down. And I go to get the prescription, and, it's no cost to me whatsoever.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that they're starting to maybe take care of that. I hate that you have to travel so much. I want to get to another phone call here, but I appreciate the call very much. I mean, it really is a symptom of what we're experiencing under this Medicare option, under this government option that they want to create in the market to try and create more competition that's actually killed off more competition because it's inefficient. Government doesn't take care of anything. Now we're running into resource issues. We're running into, just imagine how many doctors here in the Wichita area actually cover Medicare and Medicaid. Not as many as what they would potentially like. Now just add a massive amount of people to expand it in the state of Kansas, add those people on there, and then see how well the doctors are actually able to take care of you when they have a line out the door of individuals that are now on the new Medicaid plan and they're waiting to see the doctor. See how efficient that actually works. Are they going to take the time to see, okay, what's really wrong with you? You're on this pill right now. Is it really the best thing? Can we get you into therapy? Can it really take care of you? Or should we say, you know what? Here's another pill. Go home and you're fine. But we hate Big Pharma, right? We hate Big Pharma. We don't like Big Pharma with all the pills and everything they're giving us. But, the doctor just throwing stuff at us left and right because they don't have the time to take care of you. Does this make any sense to anybody? Bernie Sanders, all the progressives, it's time to wake up a little bit. Let's sneak in one more phone call here, shall we? Line number 2. Good morning. What's your name?
Hey, Andy. This is Helen.
Helen, how are you?
I'm doing just great.
Very good.
Well, and I hope you are too, even
Absolutely.
though it's raining.
Absolutely.
Anyhow, in Deuteronomy 25:10, Deuteronomy 25, verse 13, thou shalt not have in thy bag divers weights, a great and a small. 14, thou shalt not have in thy house divers measures, in a great and a small. 15, but thou shalt have a perfect or spiritually mature and just weight, and a perfect or spiritually mature and just measure shalt thou have, that thy days may be lengthened in the land which the Lord thy God gives thee. For all that do such things, to kind of change around, okay, we're going to charge this person this much, or we're going to charge that person that much. For all that do such things, and all that do unrighteously, are an abomination unto the Lord thy God. He doesn't like this either, that they charge you, something that, like $50 or $50 50 cents for, or whatever you said, for cotton balls.
Yeah. Why not submit it to the
You
insurance?
go to Walmart and get a whole bag
for 50 cents. Yeah, exactly. And yet they want to charge $50 for one to charge it to the insurance, which I get. It's not the doctor's fault of saying, yeah, you know what, I need a little bit of cash, and if they're not going to pay it anyways, might as well get what I can out of it. I get that, but that's not the way the system's supposed to be. Helen, I appreciate that because you're right. It's not supposed to be this way. We're crumbling right now. We've tried to step into a world that we shouldn't have stepped in the first place, which is government trying to take care of these things. And when we did, it screwed up a lot of stuff. Now we're blaming the private sector, not the government, for the screwed up process. And we want to go farther to the government. And the Democrats are using that as their campaign platform to run in this election. Now it's very weak because they're using all the other non-political issues and non-platform issues like personal attacks and Republicans are Nazis and fascists and everything of the sort to try and go after us in that sense. Then you see the caravan, then you see the media, now you see this pipe bomb issue, and we see everything going on. So it's all distractions. But when they do actually talk about issues, this is the issue that they want to make as the focal point. They failed on it. Now Republicans haven't done a good job fixing it yet, but the Democrats failed on it. Oh, it's a crazy world in today's times, isn't it? Brought to you by Riverside Cafe. Not the crazy times, but this segment of The Voice of Reason. Brought to you by Riverside Cafe. We got your burger and your fries from Riverside Cafe. 2 locations in Wichita, 1 in Derby at 824 North Baltimore. They have breakfast all day long, but we have your burger and fries. I'm also going to partner it up with What Was Really the Matter with the Kansas Tax Plan. The Undoing of a Good Idea, the latest book from the Kansas Policy Institute with Dave Trauber. I have the package deal with your burger and fries and your book. Make a dinner out of it. Make a nice read out of it for night. We'll do caller number 3 right now. Caller number 3 at 316-721-8255. 316-721-TALK will get you your burger and fries along with your book right here on The Voice of Reason. Take a break. Wrap up hour number 2. Stay here.
You're listening to The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. Live cattle futures saw 50 cent to $1.20 gains in most contracts Wednesday. Feeder cattle futures were steady to 80 cents higher. Nearby October was down 45 cents ahead of the expiration today. The CME feeder cattle index was down 13 cents October 23rd at 154.93. Wholesale boxed beef prices were higher Wednesday afternoon. Choice boxes were up $1.11 at $211.39. Select boxes were 96 cents higher at $197.82. Estimated federally inspected slaughter, 119,000 head on Wednesday. That totals 356,000 head for the week to date. That's 4,000 head above the previous week. Lean hog futures ended Wednesday with limit-up gains. In December and February, most other nearby contracts were up triple digits. The lean hog index was down 48 cents from the previous day at 65.95 October 22nd. The pork carcass cutout value is 32 cents lower at 77.54, and the national base hog carcass price was up 2 cents on the afternoon report at 57.60 on the weighted average. Estimated federally inspected hog slaughter 476,000 head Wednesday, bringing the weekly total to 1.428 million head. That's up 15,000 head from last week. Turning now to corn, soybeans, wheat. Corn futures are currently 1 to 2 cents lower ahead of the USDA weekly export sales report. Soybean futures are a couple of cents lower, and wheat futures are currently 1 to 4 cents lower across all 3 wheat markets. As of this moment, December corn down 1 1/4 at 367. March down 1 1/2 at 379. December KC wheat is down 4 1/2 at 492 1/2. March is down 4 at 519. November soybeans down 3/4 at 849 1/2. January beans down 1 1/2 at 862. We're seeing some pressure on soybean meal, while soy oil is fractionally higher. Market information, Mid-America Ag Network.
At Hogemeyer Hybrids, we're no strangers to your fields. They're the same ones we grew up on. You see, we're proud to be local, knowing what works best for your growing conditions. It's the advantage you get in every bag of Hogemeyer Hybrids, backed by the world's largest U.S.-based research and development engine. Comforting if you think about it. It's just how we were raised. Hogemeyer Hybrids, the right seed for the Western Corn Belt. Grow with us at therightseed.com.
Would you take a blind taste test? Instead of a brown-colored soda or a beer, let's apply this test to the race for governor. 3 options in our blind test. Ready to begin? Option number 1, a typical politician who claims to know best about education but didn't care enough to serve on the education committee in her 14 years in Topeka. Option 2, a lawyer who has been a politician for almost 20 years and whose policies mirror Sam Brownback's. Option 3, a businessman who has managed billion-dollar organizations and hundreds of employees, and who has a track record of success in the private sector. What's your choice? Mine's option 3, the businessman. That's Greg Orman. Greg Orman will grow the Kansas economy and make sure our tax dollars are spent wisely so we can invest in our priorities like education, healthcare, and infrastructure without having to raise taxes. Greg Orman, obviously the best choice to move Kansas forward as governor. Paid for by Orman for Kansas, Tim Owens, Treasurer.
As temperatures plummet, if you have ever thought of a remote starter for your vehicle, be ahead of the need with eGraphics. eGraphics is Wichita's leader in upfront pricing of remote start equipment with up to 10 different options available. Hi, this is Casey with eGraphics. We're located 2 blocks south of Douglas at 220 South Washington. I want to show you all the things eGraphics has to offer to make your vehicle everything you want it to be. eGraphics, 220 South Washington in Wichita. Call me at 262-TINT. That's 262-8468.
3 minutes to the top of the hour. Congratulations to listener Joe for winning the Riverside Cafe giveaway, burger and fries, along with the book. We got another copy of the book that we'll give away here. You know what? Let's go ahead and do that right now. If you have commented on the YouTube live feed, then we're going to do a random drawing right now of Eric, listener Eric on Facebook Live. We'll get you a copy of the book, What Was Really the Matter with the Kansas Tax Plan. Thanks for chiming in on YouTube. If you want to do it, we'll do another giveaway in the third hour. Go to youtube.com, find the KQAM radio page, say good morning, say hi, or go to Facebook, find the link to it, go on there, leave a comment. We'll do another giveaway. We'll do this, and actually we'll give away a copy of the book with the 2018 voter issue guide. We'll do that in hour number 3, so stay tuned in for that. Just leave a comment on the YouTube, jump on there. We got a lot of people checking it out this morning, which we appreciate. And by the way, speaking of the feeds, I got a message over the break from Facebook about one of the blocks that they had done for our previous Facebook live feeds. I disputed it, obviously, and they finally released it. So they're finally starting to realize that they can't block what we're doing. We're going to find a way to broadcast one way or another, whether it's on Facebook or whether it's on YouTube. We're going to do this. YouTube tried to block us for a minute there as well. I think we're in dispute with that one. They're not going to stop us, man. You can't stop the train. This is the train of conservatism. Choo-choo! And it's coming... It's coming right down the aisle. We're not dorks. Phil Martinez, Phil's Coins coming in hour number 3. Your phone calls as well. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
If you're a small business or perhaps a contractor, you know the busy season is upon us, and Kennedy Tire and Auto Care Center wants to help you get the job done right. Hi, I'm Cheryl. Did you know that Kennedy Tire can take almost any fleet card? And we work with many fleet maintenance programs so your drivers and crews can take advantage of our fast service to stay productive. So give us a call at 945-7131 for all the details or to open an account with easy terms. Between our Michelin, BF Goodrich, and Uniroyal tires and our full line of repairs and maintenance services, Kennedy Tire truly is your friend in the tire business.
Truck owners and hunters, get extra storage from Toppers Plus Truck Accessories. Organize your bows, shotguns, and rifles with Lear Locker, a ceiling-mounted storage system. Duha underseat storage is perfect for your rifles, shotguns, and ammo. Securely store your gun case with decked waterproof drawer. Toppers Plus Truck Accessories has the storage system for any outdoorsman. Visit Toppers Plus at 5511 West Central or toppersplusks.com.
Make your truck work for you!
Broadcasting from the Midwest Kia Studios, Midwest Kia in Wichita, we provide what you deserve. This is 102.5 FM and 1480 AM, KQAM, Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Augusta Flight Center. Get your dream of learning to fly off the ground at iflyaugusta.com.
I'm Stephanie Austin. Wichita police are asking for the public's help in finding a 17-year-old Sheila Dutton. Dutton is developmentally disabled and was seen last night around 7:30 while leaving a church near 10th and Tyler in West Wichita. Police said she had been wearing a maroon shirt, blue jeans, and white tennis shoes. If you see her, you are urged to call police. A federal jury has convicted a Kansas doctor accused of unlawfully prescribing pain medication blamed in one patient's death. 57-year-old Stephen Henson of Wichita was convicted on Tuesday of unlawfully distributing methadone and alprazolam, which resulted in the death of a victim in 2015. The doctor was also convicted of conspiracy to distribute prescription drugs outside the course of medical practice, presenting false patient records to investigators, obstruction of justice, and money laundering. Police say a suspect crashed into a police car during a pursuit in Derby yesterday. Officers were called around 1 p.m. to the report of someone breaking into cars at the Derby Walmart. As police arrived, the male suspect fled in a truck. Police found the suspect a short time later in a neighborhood. During a chase, the suspect crashed into a patrol car at a high rate of speed. Police say the suspect then carjacked a woman who was backing out of her driveway. Officers surrounded the suspect, and he crashed the stolen vehicle into an unmarked police vehicle before being taken into custody. All systems are go for a hotel to be built at Wichita State University. The Wichita Eagle reports the 110-room upscale Hyatt Place Hotel would feature an indoor pool, a bar, and a restaurant. It would be located just south of 19th and Oliver with a view of the lake on the east side of the campus. Pending final approval, the hotel would open in the spring of 2020. The city of Wichita is studying parking access or lack thereof. Residents and even visitors are asked to take a survey where they think parking problems exist. You can take the survey at surveymonkey.com/r/Wichita parking. Let's check in at the sports desk.
My staff and I have not and do not offer improper inducements to them or their families.
Coach Bill Self of the University of Kansas held a press conference last night. Those are just a few words that he said in regards to the text messages and the information that came out in last week's court hearings in federal court. Self went on to say, as the leader of the Kansas men's basketball program, I take pride in my role to operate with integrity and within the NCAA rules. Silvio DeSoso, one of the members mentioned in the court case last week, will not play in KU's opener pending a possible NCAA investigation. From the sports desk, I'm Doug Downs.
If you're a contractor
or a do-it-yourselfer,
you owe it to yourself to shop Croft Lumber of Heston.
Of course there's lumber.
And there's roofing and siding.
And the renowned custom cupboard cabinets.
Drywall and insulation. Just price Croft Lumber of Heston.
Chances are, if you price Croft Lumber, you'll be done shopping.
And free delivery within 50 miles. Croft Lumber of Heston. 800-736-4951. 800-736-4951. Online at kropflumber.com.
Would you take a blind taste test? Instead of a brown-colored soda or a beer, let's apply this test to the race for governor. 3 options in our blind test. Ready to begin? Option number 1, a typical politician who claims to know best about education but didn't care enough to serve on the education committee in her 14 years in Topeka. Option 2, a lawyer who has been a politician for almost 20 years and whose policies mirror Sam Brownback's. Option 3, a businessman who has managed billion-dollar organizations and hundreds of employees and who has a track record of success in the private sector. What's your choice? Mine's option 3, the businessman. That's Greg Orman. Greg Orman will grow the Kansas economy and make sure our tax dollars are spent wisely so we can invest in our priorities like education, healthcare, and infrastructure without having to raise taxes. Greg Orman, obviously the best choice to move Kansas forward as governor. Paid for by Orman for Kansas, Tim Owens, Treasurer.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
A New York City police bomb squad has recovered a suspicious package addressed to actor Robert De Niro and delivered to the 7th floor of a building associated with him in Lower Manhattan. It was noticed by 2 security guards this morning. Correspondent Shimon Prokopich tells us it's being treated like the other bomb devices sent to major Democrats and CNN.
There are similarities, I'm being told, to what we've been dealing with. Law enforcement officials say there are similarities, which is why we're seeing the response that we're seeing from the NYPD.
The FBI is investigating a U.S. postal facility in Newcastle, Delaware, about a similar package addressed to former Vice President Joe Biden. President Trump tweets this morning, quote, "I am bringing out the military for this national emergency," referring to the migrant caravan heading toward the southern U.S. border. Stock futures are currently showing strong gains ahead of the opening bell, with much ground to regain after yesterday's major losses across the boards. The Red Sox took Game 2 of the World Series last night, beating the Dodgers 4-2. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Maximum Outdoor Equipment. All equipment outdoors, from lawnmowers to snowblowers. Just south of Kellogg on West Street and online at MaximumOutdoor.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Cloudy and 54. Rain likely, mainly before 5. Tonight, 40% chance of rain before 8. Cloudy but clearing a bit. Low 45. Tomorrow, mostly sunny. A high near 70. Winds gusting over 20 miles an hour. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 8:06, it's currently 50 degrees.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios, this is the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM KQAM. It's time for Reason.
They want the endorsements because they don't want to look as radical as what they actually are. And the Republicans that are endorsing them, they are showing not as a member of the Republican Party, but as an individual who is so desperate to fit in with the fads, with the trends. It's the retro thing to do, man. And I'm the Republican that supports the Democrat who hates the Republican agenda. This is the latest campaign because they can't win any other way.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, hour number 3 of the Voice Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting on TV as well, KGBT TV, channel 2610. See, I always thought that I had a face for radio, which is why when I went to the broadcasting school that did radio and TV, I'm like, I'm going to do radio because I tried TV and it didn't. I broke the camera a couple of times, and just didn't want to. So what do? They put a camera in front of my face, and they make this happen. So we're on TV, we're on radio, we are on YouTube Live as well. No more Facebook Live, but YouTube Live. Just go to YouTube.com and find KQAM Radio. You can find the live stream. Leave a comment, say hi, and we'll give away something to a commenter on there. Call me a jerk or say good morning. I don't really care either way, but you can do that on on YouTube this morning right now. And with us this morning, as we do the last Thursday of every single month. And you're on TV now, too. You're kind of a popular guy from Phil's Coins, Mr. Phil Martinez. How are you, sir?
Good morning.
It's good to have you in here.
Yep.
I cannot believe that we are at the end of October already.
I can't believe it's Thursday already. I feel like I just went to work or got up Monday. Now it's Thursday.
Now it's Thursday already.
I'm getting ready for the weekend.
See? Are you excited for Election Day? Now, do you do early voting or do you vote on Election Day?
We're in the process of getting a ballot so my wife and I can check our P's and Q's and make sure when we walk in we know exactly who we're going to vote for.
Okay, so you get the practice ballot then, or the example ballot.
Yeah, we try. I mean, I tried to listen to all the debates that I could. I listened to what everybody has to say.
Mm-hmm.
I have my own opinions.
Sure,
I would tell you that my opinion is right.
That's right.
But if I told you that, I might be fibbing to you, so I won't tell you that. I just know that what I believe is what I believe, and the Democrats haven't disappointed me. Just for the fact that basically, if you go back to what Pelosi said on national TV, that the Democratic philosophy is, and she come right out and said this is how the Democrats do, fight their battles, is that if they tell you a lie often enough, you'll begin to believe it.
Sure.
And and I've listened to the ads. I mean, it's just like I made the statement a while ago about technically, Laura Kelly doesn't realize that she's black, and now that's a lie, and I know it's a lie. But if I keep telling it to you long enough, I hate to say it, but Laura Kelly, you'll turn black.
Oh,
because that's the way the Democrats do things. They lie, they tell you what you want to, and if I tell it out there long enough, but basically I'd say that it's been said that she's black because that's what they say about Kobach and all the ads that he runs. It says at the beginning of the ads that it says, it's been said.
It's been said.
And he's been and they've taken everything out of context. I've listened to him talk. I know what I've listened to a lot of his policies. I mean, just like schools, they're telling him basically, if you vote for Kobach, your kids aren't going to go to school because there's no money.
Yeah,
he's going to take everything away from your children. I'm sorry, but the schools have money. This is a joke. I mean, technically, what it comes to is he wants to spend 75 cents on every dollar for schools and the teachers and the classrooms, and 25% of it to go to administration. Technically, and he quoted a number in the debate the other day that basically in the lower 8 to 12, 14% is teachers' raises and classroom expenses, but administration's gone up 44%. Almost 4 times as much money that goes into administration. And every time you hire an administrator, the administrator's got to have a secretary, and that secretary's got to have a secretary. And when they have more money, let's think about it, people. It is a union, and the unions are going to hire more union people because the unions make more money every time they hire somebody. Mm-hmm. So, that's my complaint is we have too much money in administration. It's just like government, too much money in overhead. Laura Kelly is a Democrat. She's pushed by Sebelius. Sebelius spent this state into oblivion. When we were so far in debt when she left that Brownback had no choice but to try to do what he could, and they keep calling it an experiment. Maybe it was an experiment. It's just like I told somebody the other day, Kobach may not be the answer, but I know Laura Kelly is not the answer. So basically it's kind of like when you was talking about voting for Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Right.
You kind of had to pick who you thought the worst was and vote for the other person. So, technically, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I realize it's just my opinion. But I do know that, I've listened to these things and I've watched them, I've backed them up, I've played the words, I've been over pretty good, and I'm not impressed.
It is sad that we've sunken that low to a personal attack on somebody because, as you mentioned, actually, I think I don't know if I have it here with me or not. I do, yeah, one of the Laura Kelly ads right here.
In Kansas, schools are the center of communities. When Sam Brownback slashed school funding with his tax experiment, he attacked what makes Kansas special.
Well, he may attack what make people special, but if they spend some more money in the classrooms, they want to put all this money into the classrooms, unfortunately. And they keep saying if they put more money in, we're going to get better grades, more kids are going to college. They're dumbing the kids down. They're not learning. They're not learning anything. They're throwing more money at the problem. Technically, if the schools want an increase, I have no problems giving them an increase. Okay, but let's set standards. If you get some money, we get higher test results. We get higher this. We get higher that. Show us where the money's going. These kids aren't learning anymore. You can throw all the money you want at it. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you can fix the problem.
See, I don't know what you're talking about. Kids are really educated today, and the latest. Now, this is not from The Onion, a satire story. This is not from Babylon Bee or anything, a satire story. This is from Business Insider. I don't know if you saw the story or not.
No.
College students are complaining that they cannot send in their absentee ballots because they don't know where to go buy stamps.
Well, that makes sense.
Because, talk about some educated kids from the education system.
Well, the Democrats aren't liberal; they're socialist. Their whole philosophy is, and they try to tell these college kids that you don't need to work; the government will take care of you. And to a certain degree, that makes sense. But at the same time, I'm a businessman, and I've made this statement, and people have come into my shop. We've had this discussion before, and I tell them the same thing. And I'll tell everybody out there that when some guy across the street can sit on the curb and make as much money off the government by not working as I do by investing millions of dollars into my business to make a small profit, I guarantee you I will shut my doors and I will go sit next to him. And what the Democrats haven't figured out is when we all quit working and we all go sit on the curb, then the Democrats are going to put you back to work, because when there's nobody paying taxes, and the wealthy will shut down the plants. They did it in Venezuela. They went in there. They took the money away from the rich. They gave it to the poor. Socialist society. It was great. They won a huge election. The businesses closed down. Nobody's got jobs. They can't feed their families. Inflation rates are 16 to 1. Wages have gone up 3 times. They tell me with an ounce of silver in Venezuela, you can feed your family for a month. There is, and it's not so much that there's no money. There ain't no food.
Right.
Nobody's producing anything because they shut all the businesses down because the businessmen are tired of investing their money and making nothing. And people, the more Democrats we elect, we're in the same situation. We're all going to be starving, and it won't be because nobody's doing anything, because nobody's working, because we're all sitting on the curb waiting for the government to pay us.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a great point. And as you follow this election, this is what it comes down to. The Democrats right now are seeing the Trump economy come back, 4.2% GDP growth in the last quarter.
Yep.
They see record unemployment rate. They see people going back to work. They see wages increasing. They see things happening. And then what do we hear is that, we want to repeal the Trump agenda, and, oh, by the way, we want to give universal health care.
Yeah, it's just like they were talking about Kobach or Brownback having showing empty businesses where all the, great unemployment.
Right.
Who was president? Obama.
Right.
It was Obama's policies that put everybody out of work. Now Trump's putting everybody back to work.
But he's trying to take credit for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, I know that technically, it takes usually about 4 years. Obama had 8 years, and the economy was going downhill instead of uphill. So Obama can tell whatever he wants to tell.
See,
and you don't even want to get me started on what I think about him.
And Donald Trump just whispered into the economy, "We're going to cut taxes.
Yes,
we're going to deregulate." And it didn't even happen. He just whispered it.
Yeah, well,
and
he's
the economy
done more, he's
just
done
got
more
excited.
To deregulate regulations in less than the 2 years he's been there than any president in the United States. I mean, he's a businessman, and I'm sorry, but even the Republicans don't support him because he's not a politician. And we had this discussion about, just like we were talking the other day, you can buy a $50,000 car, and somewhere in there they put a little plastic gear, a little plastic there, and a 100-year warranty is good for 60,000 miles, and at 70,000 miles, this piece of plastic is going to get fatigue and break, and it's going to cost you $10,000 to get it fixed. We're in a throwaway economy, and I understand that to a certain degree, but nothing is built worth a darn in this country. I am sorry, but that's just the way it is.
Except for gold and silver.
Yeah.
See,
we've had a resurgence in the last 30 days. I've heard more people come into my shop in the last 30 days, and a lot of them are new people.
Good.
And even they're starting to worry about the economy because the stock market is pretty well topped.
You think so?
Yeah, I've got people that sell stocks, sell stocks. They don't want to sell stocks to their friends because they think the markets are pretty well topped out. And I've got a whole new resurgence of people coming in. They're trying to buy silver and gold because they think that the dollar is we're going to start to see some high inflation rates.
Why do you think that it's capped out? Why do you think it's going to? No, the last trend for the last day or two, we've lost everything that we did for the month of August or October. So people were a little panicky there, but it's got to climb again. It's not going to peak and say, "Oh, this is everything we got." I don't see that happening. Do you?
I don't know, but I listened to Trump, and Trump the other day made the statement that we could see a reset in the stock market. And anything that I've read about resets run between 30 and 70%. So if you have 70% restructuring of the stock market, it's just going to be back like at the start of the Depression. I hate to say it, but when you lose 70% of your portfolio, there will be people jumping out of windows again. I guarantee you. So when the stock market starts to go down, you don't want to be walking around anywhere down and below a tall building because you're liable to get hit by debris. I'm sorry, but
let's hope that's not the case. That'd be a scary deal. We got to take a break. 18 minutes past the hour. Phil Martinez of Phil's Coins. We haven't even got to the gold and silver yet, but it leads up perfectly because as the economy is doing well, the stock market was doing well, starting to go back down. Maybe that capping and the resetting of the stock market. We'll talk when we come back. We'll talk about how that may or may not affect the gold and silver markets in that sense as well. Plus, your phone calls at 316-721-8255. Phil's Coins, by the way, 9344 West Central Avenue. They're open at 9:30 today. Go check them out. Go get your silver and gold. It makes me every time it makes me want to sing the Christmas song. It makes me want to. I might have to start doing that when you come in here. 19 minutes past the hour. This is the Voice of Reason.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker KQAM.
Google has new ways for you to delete your search history in just a few clicks, but they're not letting you do this because they like you. Kim Commando with your Thursday Consumer Tech Update. Get extended interviews and tech news with the Commando Podcasts, available on Apple and Google Podcasts. Suddenly, Google is making it easier for you to delete your search history. Just tap the 3 lines on the left side of any Google search, and there's a link, Your Data in Search. Here, you can delete your search history, adjust your ad settings, and control what Google saves about you. So why is a company that makes money off of your data giving you the choice to remove it? In August, Google got caught saving location history on people even when they turned it off. Then they had to stop automatically tracking Chrome users. And they recently shut down Google Plus after 500,000 accounts were open to hackers. They're not being nice. Their PR machine is in action. I'm Kim Commando. When you're hiring, you don't want to waste time sorting through dozens of irrelevant resumes. You want an efficient way to get to a short list of qualified candidates. You need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes. Set up screener questions based on your job requirements. Then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Discover why 3 million businesses use Indeed.com for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed.
Good news, you're not stuck with your health care plan. Really, you have an option, and it's so good. Hundreds of thousands of people are already doing it. It's growing very fast. It's called MediShare. It's a healthcare sharing ministry, which means you can save a ton. The typical family saves $500 a month, and it's truly about sharing. You're helping others while you're doing what's best for your family. This has been a huge blessing for so many. Find out more. Call 855-25-SHARE. That's 855-25-SHARE.
Solid values, broad experience, and judicial temperament, critical for judges, and why you should vote for Republican Roger Woods for judge in Sedgwick County Division 7. Roger Woods has a record of protecting the constitutional rights of citizens, both inside and outside the courtroom. Roger Woods has lived in Sedgwick County for nearly 2 decades and is committed to keeping it a safe place to live and raise families. In fact, Roger has received the endorsement of the Friends of the Fraternal Order of Police. Roger Woods is a lifelong Kansan, an Army veteran with 27 years in active and National Guard service, including 4 deployments to the Middle East. His range of experience, both inside and outside of the courtroom, gives him a wide perspective to serve and make a positive difference in our community. Treating people with fairness and respect is a way of life for Roger. He won't forget that every case is the most important case to the people involved. On November 6th, vote for Republican Roger Woods for judge.
This is Roger Woods. Please visit woodsforjudge.org, and I would appreciate your vote on November 6th. Paid for by Woods for Judge, T-Check Compton, Treasurer.
Starseed offers excellent wheat seed treatment options. Our fungicides and insecticide packages help provide top-level performance in your crop. Starseed wheat treatments are proven in controlling numerous seed and soil-borne diseases while guarding against insect damage. Our family of products offers diversified solutions to tackle all those unwanted problems. Call Starseed today at 800-782-7311 or visit our website at gostarseed.com.
23 minutes past the hour. We got about 7-8 minutes left here with Phil Martinez. Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central Avenue in Wichita. Give them a call at 316-773-0905 or online at philscoins.com. Mr. Phil Martinez hanging out with us. And as we talked about with the stock market, maybe doing the reset, that could be, I don't know. I mean, we've always seen little blips in there. It goes down a little bit, kind of resets, and then moves up. If it's that drastic, 70%, I mean, that, like you mentioned, that could be pretty devastating. Would that have an effect on silver and gold markets as something like that would happen?
I think the stock market takes a crash like that, you're going to start to see inflation. And even you know, it's like I told somebody the other day, you can have a $20 bill, and a $20 bill might buy 10 loaves of bread. Okay, and you start getting a major inflation, so you hold on to that $20 bill, and 60 days later it buys you 5 loaves of bread because a dollar won't buy as much. I do know that even banks buy silver and gold when you start to see points of inflation, and so a piece of silver that might be worth $20 that would buy you, that you could trade for 10 loaves of bread, and 60 days later, just like the dollar, except it'll still buy you 10 loaves of bread because inflation carried the value of the precious metals up, and it still has its purchasing power. I mean, if you go back, I mean, just like gas is a little high right now, but it's not too bad. But technically, I can remember back in the 50s that you could buy gas for 15-20 cents a gallon.
Sure.
2 silver dimes are worth $1.16. That's $2.32. 2 silver dimes. If you know somebody that runs a gas station that understands the system and how silver works, you can still buy a gallon of gas for almost 2 dimes.
Sure. So
it's just like that's how you used to judge a $20 bill would buy you a good suit. Well, now a gold piece today will still buy you a good suit if it's worth $1,200.
Sure.
So, I mean, gold and silver will keep up with inflation to a certain degree. And so, and if you look at the charts, right now the ratio is about 85-1. Ratio should be 18-1. I'm telling and I do believe, and I made this statement in my shop, but I do believe in the next year you will see $50 to $100 silver. There is no reason for...
Still thinking it's going to happen.
Yes. Well, you got J.P. Morgan, one of the largest banking situations in the world. They went long on silver the other day. I read an article on this that they went long. It's the first time they've been long in years.
Sure.
There's another group of individuals that have a computer program, and when silver jumped from about 1410, 1420 up to about 1480, the computer program says, okay, this is when we buy short. So there were other people that went in and bought short contracts. The article says this was the most stupid thing they could have done because the most vicious trader in the world that has unlimited finances, they're going to go head-to-head with, and J.P. Morgan will bury them.
Mm-hmm.
Chase Stanley Morgan has 750 million ounces of physical silver, and they're buying back their short contracts now. I had a guy tell me he read an article the other day that stated that the long contracts on silver, for the first time in 20 years, there's more long contracts than short contracts.
Sure.
Every time silver moves $1, Chase Stanley Morgan stands to make $550 million. So why would they not push silver to $70, $80 and make $550 million every time it goes up to $1? At $70, $80, when you get it back to the ratios, I could see it even going to $100. And at that point, turn around and short the markets again and drive it right back down. They're going to make money going up, and they're going to make money coming down. And I mean, that's what I see. And if I was a businessman, that's exactly what I would do.
So if you are the investors to maybe a smaller degree, like myself, maybe have, $100, $200 worth of silver, and that's about it, but you slowly kind of starting to build your portfolio. If something like that happens, is that the cue to say, oh, it shoots up to $100 an ounce sort of thing, time to go sell it? Or do you hang on to it because it's going to stay there for a while before it drops back down?
It won't stay there for long. Last time silver got up to $48.50, it fell $2, and I mean, one day just boom, $2, and I'm going, okay. That was on a Monday.
Okay.
I said it's going to reset, and we'll see it go back up. It didn't go back up. I mean, I've got guys that are talking about selling their silver, and I said, well, you bring it into the shop. I'll hold your silver for you. When silver hits, say, $73 an ounce, and it drops $3 or $4 in one day, we're going to sell it the next day. And at that point, all you got to do is take the money, which I know I don't like having cash versus silver. But at the same time, if you wait, it'll come back down to $30, and at that point, you can buy two ounces of silver.
Sure.
And then you're into the money for basically, if you were into it for $14, technically you're into it for $7 if you got two for one, and therefore you're better off.
Sure. That is true. That is true. When people come into the shop and they're talking, and we just got about a minute and a half here yet, but as we go into the holiday season, it's kind of a fun way to do a gift of getting a gift certificate or getting a cool coin of gold and or silver to bring home as a family gift that actually would be purposeful and useful for setting stuff aside, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's like people are in here now. I bought this for my grandson, and every year for Christmas, and I got people yesterday bought some stocking stuffers that were silver, and I'm going, they think it's all cute and it's fun and games, but if the economy goes to in the toilet, that piece of silver may feed the family for a week where otherwise they might not eat. So, I mean,
there's actually value there.
Yeah.
And gold and silver has never lost value, ever. And that's why, something like that, the dollar, piece of paper.
They can go down with the markets. I wouldn't say lose value because but.
But I mean, have zero value. I mean, there's always
it's always going to have some kind of value. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. I want to talk more about that next time when you're in for next month, because we're already out of time. But happy Halloween to you, by the way.
Yeah.
Halloween is a fun one. You guys going to do anything like giving away free goodies, free candy, free whatever?
We give away money.
I give away money. There you go.
We've been giving away money. We doubled it this year.
Really?
Yeah.
And
then we have a contest. I mean, groups of 10 don't have much choice, but you give me one or two little kids that are well dressed. We usually give them $1. We kind of have
I love it.
I have a kind of a contest kind of in my mind, and we hand out dollars.
You guys have fun with that. I love it. Phil Martinez of Phil's Coins. Always good to talk to you, my friend.
Enjoyed having it.
Bottom of the hour news coming up. Open line. See you when we come back. Stay right here. This is The Voice of Reason.
The latest news from the Big Talker, KQAM.
Special report, more bomb scares. I'm John Trout.
Terrorism, by definition, is an effort to change people's way of living. and way of thinking using violence, using terror. We can't let that happen.
New York Mayor Bill de Blasio responds after the NYPD bomb squad contained a suspicious package addressed to actor Robert De Niro. But the latest in a string of deliveries sent to prominent Democratic Party officials and supporters is that of a package addressed to former Vice President Joe Biden. Despite the fact that those targeted have often been the subject of President Trump's ire, GOP Congressman Rodney Davis is denouncing the would-be serial bomber.
This lunatic is targeting individuals who are opposed to President Trump and opposed to other issues. And it's not right. He's got to be stopped.
The FBI says the packages were potentially destructive devices. Governor Cuomo of New York says the mail bombs were capable of detonation. I'm John Trout.
So, I used to post to job boards that sent me tons of resumes.
Just to find a few people who were right for my job.
That old process was not smart.
Then I went to ZipRecruiter.
Its technology scans resumes for me to find the right people.
And actively invites them to apply. So I get qualified candidates fast. Smart.
See why ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers in the U.S. Try it now for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter. The smartest way to hire. Based on Trustpilot rating of hiring sites with over 1,000 reviews.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, please call this toll-free number right now. 800-390-9528. That's 800-390-9528. By calling your addiction team, you're taking the first steps to recovery. The help you need could be one call away. 800-390-9528. Make the free call now. 800-390-9528. Your addiction team is a third-party advertiser for various treatment centers and placement networks. Individual results will vary. Visit youraddictionteam.com/terms for more information.
Mid-America Network News. Some parents are not happy with School District 325 in Phillipsburg after their kids came home from a random drug test with shaved spots on their heads. The district had informed parents it would do random drug tests for middle and high school students and those that participate in after-school activities. Parents signed a consent form, but several say they did not realize a portion of their child's head would be shaved. There will be a school board meeting that is open to the public on November 12th. A man convicted in a 1993 carjacking and murder in Topeka has been granted parole, but he won't get out of prison right away. The Kansas Department of Corrections says 43-year-old Joshua Kaiser was granted parole recently in the death of 33-year-old Tim Riley of Topeka. Corrections spokesman Samir Arif says that Kaiser will still serve a 32-month sentence for aggravated battery committed in Reno County. I'm Stephanie Austin.
You can't handle the truth.
Hi, this is Phil Martinez at Phil's Coins. At the shop, we talk all the time about honesty and integrity. And in our shop, we've decided that honesty means nothing without integrity. So what I would tell you is that if you didn't bring your coins to Phil's Coins, honestly, you didn't get enough money for what you have. Come see us at Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central, or online at philscoins.com.
All right, welcome to F-150 Radio. Today, the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar. Why? Eugene, go.
I think because Ford engineers always add new stuff, so the competition can't catch up.
Whoa, Eugene sounds like an expert.
Well, I got a store that sells exclusively bar-raising merchandise, like a calendar with an extra month.
An extra month?
Extrebuary. It has 32 days.
So you can appreciate the new 2018 F-150 raising the bar with available bliss with trailer coverage. It monitors your trucks and your trailer's blind spots.
How about our new bar-raising poker chips? You can play with them or eat them. So,
The new 2018 F-150 raises the bar with auto start-stop, standard on all engines, and an available 10-speed transmission.
We have sandals with available built-in socks.
And we are out of time.
Huge in Oregon.
This is the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
Driver assist features like Bliss are supplemental and do not replace the driver's attention, judgment, and the need to control the vehicle.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM for this morning. Cloudy and 54, rain likely mainly before 5. Tonight, 40% chance of rain before 8. Cloudy but clearing a bit, low 45. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high near 70. Winds gusting over 20 miles an hour. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 8:35, it's currently 49 degrees.
They're creepy and they're
When it takes two to read the news,
I'm trying to warn everybody and nobody takes me cereal.
you're in the wrong place. This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM, KQAM.
The Clinton family.
So
Welcome
get
back
a
in.
witch's shawl on.
There we go.
Stick you can crawl on. We're gonna pay a call on
The Clinton family. There it is. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. 316-721-8255. They are kind of the creepy crawlies. How's she still moving like that? I don't know. Welcome back in. Open line to you as we wrap up the program today. 316-721-8255. Thanks again to Phil Martinez of Phil's Coins joining the program. 9344 West Central Avenue. They're going to be opening up here in just about an hour from now. Go check them out with all your silver and gold needs. And I tell you what, as we mentioned, I mean, it never loses the value. It's always good to have a backup, and that's a great way to do so. We've covered a lot of ground today, not nearly what we wanted to cover today, but it was a lot of fun with the discussion as we went through not only the pipe bomb terrorism, which, again, I haven't heard any more information on this. Don't know if anything else has come out yet. The FBI investigating. The big news was the fact that more packages were being mailed as of last night. Robert De Niro's house potentially was getting attacked by one. What are they up to now? 8 or 9 potentially. And again, the media, the progressives, blaming Republicans and blaming Donald Trump. Now, it looks that way from the surface and from face value. How many people just wait and look at face value things instead of looking at things a little bit deeper? Or at least trying to understand it. Again, we're not passing blame by any way, shape, or form to anybody when it comes to this issue. But if you're going to just automatically jump to conclusions because, well, hey, you know, obviously it went on to Democrats who hate Trump, so therefore it must be a Trump supporter. Maybe. But I'd also like to connect dots elsewhere as well. Where does the anger and the viciousness and the hatred come from on what side of the aisle versus the other? I don't remember seeing crazy Republicans out there doing harm to Democrats because they have an anti-Donald Trump sign on it. In fact, people have become very bold to put on their Facebooks of the blankety-blank Trump. And they just openly say that, Robert De Niro being one of them that said that at the whatever award ceremony that they were at. With many of the elected officials that say we need to harass not only Trump, but Trump supporters and elected officials that support Trump, we need to go after them. Brett Kavanaugh, we just need to stop him because he's a terrible, horrible human being. The viciousness is coming from one side versus the other, and that's got to be taken into consideration here. Again, not putting accusations on any way, shape, or form to one group or another, but let's at least wait and actually get the facts. Let's get the facts. Let's get the number. Let's understand what's happening. And then whoever it is on any side of the aisle or no side at all, whoever actually ends up coming out as the person that's doing this, we punish them to the fullest extent of the law. But thank God for President Trump for his comments, and Melania Trump, and Vice President Mike Pence. Thank God no one was hurt. We don't want our political adversaries to be injured in physical harm in any way, shape, or form, unlike the other side of the aisle. We're in a civil war politically, ideologically, philosophically, but we're not ones to actually go out and actually harm people physically. And if it is somebody that's that has misrepresented the Donald Trump mentality, Donald Trump will be the first one to come out and say that's not what we stand for. We're all about unity. We're all about making this happen. So that's going on today. Hopefully more news will come out so we can – hopefully this is not going to be one of those situations where after about a couple of days or a month or a week to where we just don't hear anything else. The FBI investigation's taken too long. We forget all about it. We move on. We do have midterms that are a week and a half away with the elections. I hope that this doesn't kind of fall through the cracks. It's like, oh, well, we forgot all about it. Because I want to know who does it, especially if it's something that's trying to sway the election one way or another because of these types of attacks. But thank God no one was harmed, and let's continue on to move on with elections and policy and substance and platform and the candidates, which is something Democrats have a very difficult time actually campaigning on because they don't have a platform other than universal health care. That's a terrible idea that we talked about in the last hour. With that, it's open lines to you, and let's go right to the phones here, shall we? 316-721-8255. Line number one. Good morning. What's your name?
It's Ted Kaczynski.
Well, hey, Ted Kaczynski. That's right.
Jeez. You know, I have a sneaking suspicion. You remember back in 2015, they called him Clock Boy, that high school kid that made the suitcase clock.
Yes.
In high school.
Yes.
I think maybe he's old enough now. He's back in business.
He was sending them care packages.
Yeah. You know, you would think that the Democrats, after all these shootings and all these other threats, they immediately, when there's like a mass shooting, they come out and they blame the NRA, they blame Republicans. Come to find out, the overwhelming majority of them have been registered Democrats, Al Gore supporters, Bernie Sanders, that supporter. That's the guy who shot up the Republican softball practice.
Exactly.
You know, you would think Democrats would bite their tongue a little bit, but see, this is what happens. See, Republicans, we step back and we say, like in the Kavanaugh hearings, innocent until proven guilty. Let's see the facts. Right. Democrats are pure emotion, and in this, there's some things that concern me. How there was on the postage, there were no postmarks on it. The stamps weren't inked over, or it doesn't have the little stamp. So I'm looking at it going, well,
things are a little weird. But again, and again, we can speculate all we want to. We don't have the facts. We can speculate. And yes, I don't know whether those pictures are legit or not, but if they are, then yeah, there's no postage from the post office stamping it saying that it was processed through the mail. The return address was from Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Now, give me a break. If you are sending a bomb to somebody, you're not going to put a return address on the package that you're sending it from, because you're stupid if you do that. So I'm not saying, Debbie Wasserman Schultz must have been the one that actually sent this. Give me a break.
But and let me say this too. There's no excuse for whoever did this for what they've done. But I got to tell you, in this climate where we see people, mainly Democrats, getting with the double standards, getting away with the things they get away with, and no accountability, the double standards in our justice system and the prosecution, I can see how someone with a weak constitution, and if people don't understand what that term means, look it up. But, people with a weak constitution may just feel defenseless and lash out like this, that they think this is the only way they can get justice.
Right.
I got to tell you, all those people in Washington, they need to smarten up a little bit. They need to look at it and say they're no better than us. And when you commit a crime, why do we have people going to jail for parking tickets? But we have people who, put out top secret information and they get a pass on it.
That's true. That is the concern that we have. And maybe, and I said this in the first hour, but maybe, just maybe, this is the teetering point, the brink to where we begin to come back and actually find a little bit of common ground and unity again, regardless of what side it was on, from either maybe a misdirected, ill-directed individual from the conservative side. Maybe it was from the insiders and the Democrats wanting to hype this up as making Republicans look bad going into the midterm elections, or whether it was just a crazy fanatic who it was a random drawing. I don't know. Regardless of who it was, with how much tension there's been, with how much anger and hatred the progressives have spewed by saying that we need to run out individuals out of public venues, we need to attack Republicans, we need to support and endorse Antifa, with them saying that just because you're a Republican and a Trump supporter by default, you're a fascist and a Nazi, and we have the justification to harm you. Maybe, just maybe, the fact that no one was harmed in this, thank God, the fact that we were able to stop this, maybe this is the point to where, like Trump said yesterday, that it's time for us to unite. We can stop, we can reset, we can take a breath. The individuals on the left side of the aisle that absolutely hate Donald Trump with a passion and think he is the Antichrist to some degree, they can take a breath, and we can say, you know what? We agree with each other politically. Let's find some common ground, and let's go back to the ideas of debating and arguing with each other civilly in the political system, not by abusing or attacking or threatening people on the streets.
We denounce, every Republican denounces this bomber. And we don't care if he's a Republican or a Democrat. We denounce it. However, Democrats, this Antifa violence, beating people with chains, kicking them, throwing urine on them, they excuse it.
Right.
And that's where we see the big divide. Look, you hit someone with a chain. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. You don't do that.
You don't do
Period.
that. Right. Exactly. Yeah. And you hit it right on. And this was brought up in the first hour as well, was that there's a big difference when conservatives do something bad. The conservatives are the first one to come out and say that's not what represents us. That's not what we define ourselves by. That is wrong. We don't believe in that.
Well,
they are crazy, and they're not a representation of us. Democrats and progressives, when someone like that happens, like an Antifa member does something bad, they don't shy away from it. Because they see each other as the groupthink mentality, the collective of, well, they have a very hard time saying that doesn't represent us. They try to, but it doesn't work very well. We're the first ones to come out and say, yeah, that's not right, and you're stupid for doing that.
Well, this mail bomber should take a page out of the Democrat playbook.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we see people with these hate crimes, you know, they burn crosses or spray paint hate stuff, and we find out the vast majority of them, these people have done it. And then what do? They run out and say, well, I'm just trying to bring attention to an issue.
Exactly, yeah. And then they play the victim because exactly, they play the victim of, oh, it was wrong, but we're trying to bring awareness to, so therefore now we can build a movement around it. Yeah.
Excuse that should be his excuse. Just so we can watch the left just flip out and say, yeah, you remember that next time. But, of course, it's the history of now.
I'm trying to bring awareness to what Republicans could have done to all the Democrats that they hate so much because they're fascist Nazis. Yeah. I mean, again, I'm not throwing blame one way or another, but I'm open to that. And if it ends up being that in the end, it makes total sense, and I can totally see that happening.
It's Donald Trump. Donald Trump put this guy up to it to take the Khashoggi story off the front page.
That's it. That's right. Yeah, there you go. Wallace, I appreciate it very much. Let's go back to the phones here. Line number 2. Good morning. What's your name?
Hey, this is Gary.
Gary, good morning, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, Andy. I was listening to your previous show, not your previous show, but the show just before yours.
Yeah, First Light. Yes.
And the host on there was saying that he's right down the middle. He is fair to the left. He's fair to the right, and he don't favor one over the other.
Right.
I called BS on that. He was reminded of one caller reminded him that Obama, as a senator, said that if they bring a knife, we'll bring a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like incredulous and
like, how dare you say something like that? He never said that. They also say that Maxine Waters never said to get in the faces of Republican elected officials in public and shun them and run them out and rally and crowd around them either. He also probably forgot the fact that Barack Obama not only said that when they bring a knife, you bring a gun, but also said to get in the face of individuals and, tell them off if they disagree with you. He also probably forgot that, Madonna said that they would be better blowing up the White House. They also probably forgot that members of the media came out and said that, Trump's kid needs to be raped by pedophiles or something. They probably forgot all these hateful messages coming from the left. I mean, yeah, but they're fair and balanced.
And then when one who was that did the body slamming, I mean, you can only take so much, and yet he's the bad person for body slamming someone that got in his face. I mean, on any given day, if a person's going to get in my face, on one day I might just blow it off and.
Come on, this is the double standard here. It's we should criticize Trump for saying that he accepts the challenge from Joe Biden for going out into the back of the yard to take a few swings at each other. But it's not okay to criticize Joe Biden for saying that he'd like to take Trump out back behind and do something to him.
Double standard. The Democrats are deceitful, they're depraved, dishonest. You name it.
I'm telling you, regardless of how this turns out, I'm telling you, the ones that are on the fence, the moderates on the Democrats, the moderates on the Republicans, a lot of these people are seeing a lot of this and saying, you guys are trying to play off the Republicans being these terrible, horrible, like red in the eyes, ready for violence type of angry mob type people. But then you see the Democrats and the progressives actually doing that. Which one are you going to believe?
Yeah, are you going to believe your lying eyes?
Yeah, exactly. Gary, I love it. I appreciate it very much. I mean, I think this only plays into the hands of Republicans. They're again, tinfoil hat here. If this is the case, and we find out later that it is maybe an operative from the Democrat side trying to stage this to make it hype up for Democrats, if this happens, it only shows the more exposure of them desperate, of them finding polls that they're not doing well because they don't have a platform and they're trying to pawn off their own issues onto the Republicans. And it's not working. It's not working. But let's get back to policy, shall we? We're a week and a half away from midterm elections, the largest midterm elections that we've seen in a long time. We're seeing record voter turnout for early voting for Democrats and Republicans. Both sides are energized. Let's actually get some excitement going on. What do you say? On platform, on policy, on taxes, on health care, on jobs, on the economy. Let's do it, baby. Let's go back to the phones here. Line number 2. Good morning. What's your name?
Hi, Andy. This is Helen again.
Helen, what do you got for us?
Well, going back to the Medicare or the medical health issue, like my daughter and her husband, my son-in-law, they can afford health insurance, but they pay out of pocket for every doctor's visit, for every medication that they have to get, and then the government, Obamacare, comes along and charges them $1,400.
Sure.
So, which they can't afford.
Sure.
But they have to pay it anyway.
Well,
so how does government health care, and where does that money go? Where does that money go? And plus, we've heard about, for years, we've heard about Social Security being like and Medicare and all this, Medicaid, all being a Ponzi scheme. It's just, you don't get back what you put into it.
Oh, of course not. No, now the way Social Security works is that when you pay into it, you're paying for someone that's on it currently. So then, when you get onto it, then the next generation behind you that's working is the one paying for yours. The problem with that is that we have so many people beginning to retire and that are using it that we have less people that are working to be able to fund it, which is why it's going to go bankrupt. And not only that, but then when they put the money into it, then the government feels like they need to borrow it and take money out of it to be able to pay for other things, and then we see the system begin to collapse, which is an entirely another discussion, but I think one that we need to have again really soon. And Helen, I appreciate it. I want to sneak in one more phone call before the break, but I mean, that's a great point to address. And Obamacare, here's the good part. That individual mandate forcing people to get the insurance, and if they don't, then they get penalized. That is ending at the end of this year. That is one benefit that we've seen. We haven't repealed all of Obamacare yet, but the individual mandate punishing someone for not having insurance, that is going away after this year. So by January 1, they don't have to worry about that anymore. Now, that is encouraged to actually get health care, because once they get something severe and they don't have the money to pay for it out of pocket, they're going to wish they had insurance. But if you can't afford it right now until we get the system fixed, that's the only way a lot of people can go. Let's go back to the phones here, shall we? Line number 3, good morning. What's your name? Oh, I guess we lost him. That's all right. Let's take a break, wrap up the show here. We'll sneak in another call or two when we come back. Plus, you got just a couple of minutes if you want to come on and say hi on the YouTube live feed. We'll give away one more copy of the book. What was really the matter with the Kansas tax plan from the Kansas Policy Institute. We'll give that book away when we come back to a lucky winner on the YouTube Live. If you leave a comment and just let us know that you're there, which we love. It's been consistent today with a lot of viewership, and we appreciate that very, very much as we're continuously growing without getting blocked by social media. It's crazy we have to fight this left and right, isn't it? This is The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Lower in the grains, mostly lower in the livestock. That's the way we're going to start our very complicated Thursday morning. Let's check the ag futures markets. Brady Charles at Schwieterman Incorporated. Good morning, Brady.
Good morning. Well, we're still having some weakness in the grain markets this morning, and a little bit of weakness in the livestock this morning as well. Although October live cattle are up 32 at 113.50, December are down 45 at 117.90. February is down 32 at 122.45. October feeders are down 60 at 154.02. November is down 87 at 155.05. January is down 70 at 150.60. December lean hogs, after yesterday's limit higher move, are up 55 on the day at 58.07. December Kansas City wheat's down a nickel at 5.92 1/4. March is down 4 3/4 at 5.18 1/4. July is down 4 3/4 at 5.40. December Chicago's down 6 1/2 at 4.93. July's down 6 1/4 at 5.33 1/4. In the corn market, December's down 3 1/2 at 3.64 3/4. March down 4 at 3.76 1/2. July down 3 3/4 at 3.90 1/4. November beans are down 3 3/4 at 8.46 1/2. January's down 4 at 8.59 1/2. March is down 4 at 872 3/4. And the Dow Jones is currently trading up 112 points at 24,695. This has been Brady Charles from Sweeterman Incorporated. For questions on these markets, any other markets, and all your marketing needs, please give us a call at 800-272-9131 or visit us online at upthelimit.com.
What good are crop nutrients if your crops can't use them? Soil pH is the foundation of nutrient availability. 98G pelletized limestone corrects and maintains soil pH levels, maximizing your investment in crop nutrients by making them more readily available to the crop. Since 98G is pelletized for precision placement, it won't blow away in the wind like ag lime. Ask your local crop advisor about 98G pelletized limestone or learn more at calciumproducts.com.
At Star Seed, we have various options for your cover crop solution. Whether you prefer Green Shift, Chick Magnet, or Green Field, choose Star Seed for all your cover crop needs. We offer premium quality products and superior sudden service. Don't forget to ask about our custom blend packages. Call Star Seed today at 800-782-7311 or visit our website at gostarseed.com for all your seed needs.
Where did the summer go? Hi, this is Charlotte Kennedy Tire. Suddenly it's time for back to school and football. This is also a good time to make sure you're ready for the coming seasons and the weather they bring. Could be a set of our super safe Michelins for Mom's Taxi, or our sporty line from BF Goodrich that look great and handle even better, or a set of our Uneral tires for the student on a budget. Whatever fits your driving needs, Kennedy Tire and Auto Care Center has the right tire just for you. So call 945-7131 or come by 3250 West 13th Street North. Kennedy Tire and Auto Care Center, your friend in the tire business.
One of the classics. One of the classics. The Munsters. Come on, baby. It's Halloween season. Got to enjoy it just a little bit, right? Welcome in. Wrapping up the program today. Thanks for everybody hanging out with us, calling into the show. We didn't get to everything we wanted to today, but we still had a great show, great conversations as we talk about, again, the healthcare platform, if that's what the Democrats are going to run on. Free Medicare. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. It's not going to happen. See how well it actually worked in the last election? Trying to run on saying we need to preserve Obamacare, and what happened? Oh, yeah, we elected Donald Trump. What did Hillary say? We need to take Obamacare to the next level, go further into the government health care, go further into that. Guess what? We elected Donald Trump because we didn't want to see that happen. We wanted the Supreme Court to come back and say, yeah, government-run health care is a little bit unconstitutional, just a little bit. And we made that happen. So for them wanting to run on the platform again for the midterm election saying healthcare, I mean, you see it with some of the local candidates saying, oh, the Democrats, we need to expand Medicaid in the state of Kansas. We need to get more people on this. It's going to be great. The government healthcare, it's going to be good. No. If you run on that platform, you will lose. Out of time today, but again, appreciate everybody. By the way, the YouTube Live, people are jumping on there and making some comments. And the random drawing, the final giveaway today with the 2018 Voter Issue Guide from the KPI, along with their latest book, What Was Really the Matter with the Kansas Tax Plan and How We Can Fix It, the Brownback Tax Plan, the evil, terrible Kansas conservative experiment from Sam Brownback. What was really the matter with that? And how do we move forward from here? We got a copy of that, plus the Voter Issue Guide with the random drawing of Craig. Listener Craig on YouTube. Appreciate you jumping on there, making a comment. Welcome into it, my friend. We got yourself a Voter Issue Guide along with the book from the Kansas Policy Institute. Everybody have a great, what is today? Thursday. It's going to be a good one. It's time to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is The Voice of Reason. Everybody have a wonderful Thursday. We're back tomorrow to wrap up your week right here on the show. If you're active military, a veteran, or part of our law enforcement community, bring in your active or inactive military ID or an active law enforcement ID to any Riverside Cafe location. Buy 2 meals and a drink and get the second meal of equal or lesser value for free. Again, for any military vets or law enforcement, buy 1 meal and 2 drinks and get the second meal at no charge. A special offer from a special place, Riverside Cafe.
Riverside Cafe in Wichita at 9125 West Central or 13th and Bidding, or in Derby at 824 North Baltimore. Fall has a certain feel to it, like no other. And if you're the type of person that likes to get things done outside, there's nothing like the feel of steel in your grip to get the job done. Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Mays has perhaps the best selection of steel power equipment in western Wichita, maybe south central Kansas. Check out the steel products that have earned the most praise from owners like you at Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Mays, 5204 North Mays Road, where we take pride in serving you.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios. Rusty Eck Ford, the price you need and the service you deserve. This is the Big Talker, 102.5 FM and 1480 AM, KQAM, Wichita proud.